He's had some injuries. He pitched like a 1 last year. How much does that cost on the open market?
Well, tell us, Kyle Teal, Braden Montgomery, Chase Medrod, and Wickham and Gonzalez is what it cost you.
You nailed it on those names.
If Red Sox fans are so disappointed in the 4 guys.
My mistake.
27. Any trouble, boy? No, man. Thought I was having trouble with my heading. It's all right now.
I'm afraid to play it because somebody said the screen said I was, what's the word? I forgot what he said yesterday, so I don't want to screw it up. Why is finger ping pong around $2? But you know, somebody else asked me that this morning, and I believe that if Ham weren't working so hard, it probably, you know, we'd be talking about a lower number. My point being that they just sell. They just sell. They just sell. And he's educated everybody, and people are buying. But Marlon, what's gonna happen, in your opinion? What reason will Finger have to go up? We're here. We're here. There's Christmas. Christmas is in the middle of the week. Then there's New Year's. I don't know. It might be true that something's going to get it to trigger. Before Christmas or before the New Year. And Ham will come on, you can talk to him about it. But I personally think we have to take what the market's telling us, which is January. Yeah, that's pretty amazing move. I wouldn't forget the lessons we've learned. Most people, if they own that stock, have doubled their money. So you could sell half and then let the rest ride for free. But you might consider selling a little bit and buying RLAIF just so that you have a balanced portfolio. That's not balanced. They're both very speculative. But yeah, Nixie looks very strong. The chart looks strong. It just looks strong. But I personally, I wouldn't chase it. If you don't own it by now, if you don't know me by now, I would say I don't know what to say. It might be worth chasing it. It might be worth chasing it. I certainly think it's going to be a great stock in 2025. But I still maintain that nothing usually goes straight up, and you might have profit taking. I mean, it used to be CJ Yukon. I don't know what happened along the way. Something happened along the way. How does that song go? Earth, Wind, and Fire. Something happened. Anyway, I used to know all the songs, and now I just know George Jones. So anyway, it used to be 100% move in a stock was unbelievable. A double. So the way I look at it, as a short-term allocation of funds, and by short-term in this case, I'm talking, let's say, end of the year, end of the year, or let's say 30 days from now, 30 days from now. So it's guesswork. It's guesswork. But what's more likely by the end of the year? For NIX to go to 12 or RLAIF to go to $1 or $1.20 or $1.50? I don't know. I think they both have very good chances. But I really emphasize, I think RLAIF, because of the news. I'm just, I'm reading the tea leaves, news and charts. I mean, if you look at the chart on RLA Rail, on Rail, if it gets through 40 cents round, maybe it's a little more. It might be 41, 42 cents. My eyesight's not great. And if you think in terms of it being a $40 stock, you can take the chart seriously. It looks like that's a very strong chart. And if it gets through 40 cents, I don't know, 60 cents is certainly on the chart. I think the high that it's ever been, right around 60 cents. I'm doing it by memory. I don't have it. I guess I could look at a small chart of it as I'm saying this. Yeah, 60 cents or so is as high as it's ever been. So that's the next target, is 60 cents. But what happens then? What if it gets through 60 cents? I don't know. $1? $1.20? $1.50? I don't know. And we'll see. We'll find out. I don't think RLAIF is going to do a whole heck of a lot today or tomorrow, so you got time. But as I've been saying for a while, I don't think there's going to be a chance to buy it under 40 cents. Soon there won't be a chance to buy it under 40 cents. But man, you're right. That is looking good. Tyler, well, I think she's dead. No, I'm not. No, I'm not. Marlon, you've been here the last few days. All I've done is talk about Railtown AI. It's a Canadian company. Let me see. I think I got a block on my account here because I had it up. But Railtown closed a 2.1 million private placement on December 9th. it has warrants at 60 cents, which if the stock goes to 120 for 10 consecutive days on an average, the company can force the conversion of those warrants. Railtown has successfully closed that. Railtown AI to participate in a major software productivity summit. Co-founders seek networking and partnership opportunities at the event. Railtown AI Technologies is set to participate in the prestigious Developer Productivity Engineering Summit in San Francisco, where industry leaders will, I actually think that's an old story. They're up in British Columbia right now. Let me see if I can show you what it is. Of course, we're using the wrong keyboard. It says loading, loading, loading. And now it's going to say, oops. All right, let's try something else. Okay, let me make sure you're here. I can't believe you didn't see this. Yeah, you can see this. So let me go back to it. This is their website, railtown.ai. And this is Conductor, which is their product. It's a developer productivity engineering platform. It's AI. It integrates with your software development tools, unleashing the insights to build, deploy, and scale your product. My understanding is this product, this AI technology software, can replace a whole team of software developers, and instead of, say, taking 6 to 9 months to finish a job, they can complete it in minutes. Now, I'm not a tech guy, but here's their partners. We are proud to partner with global technology leaders, including Microsoft, Mila, NVIDIA, AMII, CoSell Ready, Microsoft, and Microsoft Founders Hub. And they just signed up. They just were approved for advanced micro devices. So I come down here to get to the main page. And here's their presentation. We create AI which accelerates software development. And this is a disclaimer. I think you saw it. Here's the investment highlights. The US dollar development tools market is $4 billion and is growing at a nice pace. The US dollar value of artificial intelligence as a service market is $7 billion. The total cost of poor software, that's old, clunky, legacy software in the United States, is $2 trillion. The founders of this company have between them started 6 startups to date. They've had 4 merger and acquisition exits totaling 200 million. And these are the companies they worked with. Microsoft, these are the companies that bought them out, is how I read this. Microsoft, Keller Williams Real Estate, Starbucks, and Remax. They've raised $6 million for Railtown to date. They have decades of experience, but so does Stormy Daniels. They helped raise $250 million combined. That's all good. That's all very good. That means they know what they're doing. Railtown AI platform drives down inefficiency, improves product quality, lowers costs, and accelerates velocity, which I assume is speed. I feel the need of speed. Continue trains itself. This app does, this technology. So it's self-learning, self-improving. I'm not going to read all that. So Railtown was founded in 2019 in Canada. The symbol is RAIL on the Canadian exchange. They're growing at 178% in terms of user signups month over month. They're fully commercialized and they're the first mover. And it's rapidly scaling. So what is it? Let's see if they tell you. Railtown has developed a custom-trained AI model which understands all aspects of software development. So it's AI. It's not a person. It doesn't eat pizza. Our platform can be deployed on cloud or on-premise. Fast model inference for real-time decision-making. Platform ingests user data sets that are used to continually improve model performance. Platform can incorporate multimodal data, including imagery, custom reporting, and templating. So it's artificial general intelligence is still years away, but commercial opportunities lie in a more narrowly focused area currently. So there's an opportunity to disrupt entire industries like transportation, media, software development, healthcare, finance. Blah, 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 blah. Blah, 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 blah. Blah, 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 blah. Global development tools, global AI as a service market. Microsoft has over 1 million paying GitHub Copilot users. The increase in development productivity because of AI could boost GDP, global domestic product, by over 1.5 trillion. Or maybe he's just talking about the United States. I don't know. I assume it's more than just the United States. But anyway, and we can go back to what I spanned over. I don't want to get into it. You can look that up. It takes too long to read. So they wrote the white paper almost 5 years ago. They started working on the code almost 5 years ago. They created the framework in-house. They developed an artificial intelligence engine internally. 85% of the capital raised was used for tech engineering. They have patents and more. The business model is to target resellers, Microsoft co-sellers, and direct sales. When the reseller happens, they don't spend any of their own manpower. Soft seller, they don't spend manpower. Direct sales, they do spend some manpower. Brand, blah, blah, blah. Okay, here's a case study, Quisitive. They managed branding, they onboarded, they're exclusive, and they have revenues. And anybody who can onboard is good in my book. All right, you can read that up, but artificial general intelligence versus application general intelligence. Application general intelligence is a platform which provides a deep knowledge of understanding about every aspect of a software application and the team developing it. This has been fully realized as of December of 2023. And this is how it works. You can look it up. So they have a root cause analyzer, so they can detect the errors very early. So they're caught early and resolved more quickly. They're prioritized, and it can save 8+ hours per week per developer. Then Conductor, which is an assistant, is fast, accurate. And then the velocity dashboard tracks everything. This is how it all works. This is a comparison of Trello, launched to the public in 11 and was purchased in 17 for $425 million. Slack launched in 14 and Salesforce acquired Slack for $30 billion, basically. Here's Yorktown AI, competitive advantages. Single source of truth. I mean, you can get that watching Rachel Maddow. Team velocity, developer velocity. They have the AI assistant. They have the notes automator, ticket generate, progress reports, no code virtual developer, root cause analyzer, categorize errors, group errors, intelligence alerting, catch errors early. And you can see some of their competition: GitLab, Jenkins, Jira Software, Splunk, New Relic, Sonar Cube. Apparently, what I take away from this is they're better than the rest of the competition, and they have leapfrogged them. So the timeline, Q4 of last year, they filed a patent, they acquired users, etc. First quarter of this year, another patent, and they commercialized their latest features and then user application. Second quarter this year, they commercialized the latest features and they continued to acquire users. The team, Marwan Haddad, 25 years of development software experience. He launched platforms for Microsoft and Starbucks. Corey Brandolini, co-founder, 30 years of experience. He's an IB. He was an overpaid wanker at Octagon Capital and Golden Capital. He raised a lot of money. He was a partner of T-Lo Hits a New Low, which was acquired by Microsoft. T-Leo. Dr. Elliot Holtman founded Extract AI, acquired by Patriot One. He studied geophysics. I wonder why he's not in oil and gas or gold. He's prestigious. Kevin O'Neill, 35 years, Merrill Lynch. Pierce, Fenner, and Smith. They actually had an ad campaign when I was there. To know no boundaries. But anyway, now they're back to better ads. Former CEO of Extract AI, along with this guy, Andy Moak, Matthew Bolton, 20 years developing software for Microsoft, Pfizer, Procter & Gamble, Remax, Electronic Arts, Samsung, Home Depot, and etc. Yami Bueza, Chris Gerard, Rebecca Kurzweil in investor relations and marketing. Paul Woodward, CFO, Ali Sinawi, capital markets advisor, Ana Maria Parante, VP of Human Resources. Ding, 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 ding. Rob Goring, serial entrepreneur, Dr. Eldad Haber, professor. There you go. So I hope, Marlon, I answered your question. Oh my gosh, you weren't seeing any of that? Oh. You heard it anyway. And no toxic debt? They don't have toxic debt. They do not have toxic debt. Their last financing was a private placement, and it was not toxic. So, but that's always a good question to ask. F3. I'll try to get Ham on. Let me just see your questions, if there's any questions. We're lucky. Well, you have to ask Ham about that. It wasn't my impression that that's what that was about. I thought that was about he hit the cover of Time live video. Being on time. I don't know. I think I'm a little unpredictable when I come on. Ace is the place, though. Oh, finger 2 years? Yeah. I don't know about 2 years being nothing, because it crushed me in August of last year. And so, because I was going to that stupid movie, which I'm sure is going to be a great movie, but I wish I had not been harangued and showing up there on Option Friday. But I know, Tyler, I'm going to guess from February of that year through August, Finger Motion actually traded really well. It went from under $1 or near $1 to $7 on a lot of volume. So there was an opportunity to make money. AMB, let me just. There, that's good. That's good, Dan. So you're trading for free. That's how to do it. Imagine if we can do that every time. Maybe you try to do that with some RLAIF. Trump was all over at CNBC today. I bought 4,500 at 36. Thank you, Johnny. Are you the one they tell those jokes about? Dirty Johnny jokes? Poor John, the name Johnny. Dear John letters. My confirmation name, by the way, is John. All right. He's already, this guy's already impatient. Does RLAIF make it move soon? Let me see if we can look at a chart, and I'll get the brains on the that's DJT. I think that one's going to 55. If I had to pick a number. All right, let's look at RLAIF. That's beautiful. All right, let's annotate. Annotate RLAIF. The thing that stands out to me here is right around in this range. And remember, if you want perfect technical work, go listen to ARCA or Avid or, but me, I just get close enough for government. So anyway, in here, sense, to see it as the stock rallied from what happened back in here. It traded by appointment. It ran up to 62.5 cents and then got hit. Maybe they did a financing. Who knows? It got hit, comes down, and rallies to 40. That became, first of all, 40 was support here when it pulled back and it kept going. Then here, 40 was punctured, kind of held, but really didn't. So the stock went back to the 20-day moving average and collapsed and met the 50-day moving average, came below that. But it tried to rally back up, and where? At 40 cents. Then it pulled back, and it hit 40 cents, pulled back, hit 40 cents, went sideways and came back down, all the way back down. Gapped, ran to almost 40 cents, and then came back down, ran a bit. It popped up above 40 cents, but then came back down. Went to 40 cents, and then just had this nightmare decline. I don't know what the heck this day was. Probably Adina Friedman saying, hey, you got a reverse split. Got to keep me in my dentures. So the way I see it is 40 is now resistance. And what do you see here? You see the green, the 20-day moving average, crossing over the 50-day moving average and the 200-day moving average, which just got started here because that's 200 days, I guess. So that's I don't know what they call it, a bullish cross, a golden cross, but that's very bullish. A lot of volume down here confirming it, but the 20-day is crossing over and going upward across both the 50-day and 200-day moving averages. Very bullish. The stock, to me, again, very roughly, and here you could probably, no, I'm not going to do it there. I'm going to do it here. You could probably do it somewhere in like that, but probably that needs to come down a little bit, but whatever. To me, this stock has broken through this downward trend that formed resistance. So my point is 40 cents is, let me see if you're even seeing what I'm doing. Oh, thank gosh. Thank gosh. Okay, I got to go back to. Here it is. Okay. I mean, where is my little thing? Right here, 37.5 seems to be resistance too. So I could have drawn this down lower. Anyway, I'm using 40 cents. Maybe I could have used a lower number. 40 cents might be conservative for my argument, But I think if it breaks through 40 cents, it'll run up and then come down and test 40, maybe a couple of times. And then 40 now would become support. And I think the obvious next target is 60 cents here. And I can't, I don't have the skills to project beyond that. I don't have the Fibonacci sequence numbers in my head. But I think by looking at this, I think the stock, if it breaks through 40 cents, which it looks like it's going to do any time now, I think it quickly goes to 60 cents. Quickly, days, couple of weeks. Is it a long, I don't know what you mean by long term, but I went through the news stories and you've got NVIDIA, Microsoft, some other one I can't remember, and AMD, all partnering with them. They have first mover advantage, as they said, in a new technology that seems to be spectacular. Does one of those big guys buy them out? Yeah, I think so. Long term, I don't know what you mean. In the bond market, long term is anything over a year. In this case, I think anything over 6 months would be long term. So I think it moves soon. And I think you might find that it could get very exciting within 6 months. I'm going to call him.
Battery 100%. Connected to Hills I found.
I don't think he's answering. Yeah, he didn't
Call
answer.
ended.
So he'll call back. I'll try to leave the phone there. He called me so a few minutes ago, so I didn't see it. I agree with Johnny. Their third quarter earnings should be coming out, I think, in January. And, there's always an opportunity for the criminals to just sell stock they don't have. Oh, that doesn't happen. There's systems in place. You can't believe the data that FINRA releases. Okay, I don't know. What are we supposed to do? Can't believe FINRA? But I'm not.
Handy.
Okay, all right, here we go. Hello?
All
Hello?
right, let's go. Come on.
Well, if you're waiting on us, you're going back assward.
What does that mean?
You're live.
All right, so 3 people just called me. Everybody's hearing the audit will be done on Monday, and the news should be out next week.
What
I can't
news?
confirm it.
Oh, the news about the audit. Okay.
The audit will be done on Monday, and that I guess big shareholders are hearing it, and it was relayed to me. So I called you. That's all I know. I'm in my car. I have a blackout at my house, so I know I'm in the car trying to stay warm and charging the phone. So I don't know what's going on. Where is the stock at?
That's all those drones offshore from Iran.
I'm running around.
Let me look. Hang on, I got to open up my
Go
little.
to the alley. Take me away. Take me away.
My eyesight is so bad. I'm getting it. Just relax, everyone. Quote. Finger motion is $2. $2 bid, 203 ask, 5,100 by 600,
All right, listen,
139,000.
I just told you, listen, I just told you what I heard. I cannot confirm it. The people that own the stock are the ones that are saying it. So, you know, do they have a motive? Yes. Do they have information? I don't know. Let's see what happens. But things look good for next week. That's what they were telling me. So let's see. Again, like I said, these people are on the other side of the world. You know, there's Chinese people that own the stock. So, you know, they all know. So anyway, what else is happening, William?
Well, apparently one gentleman asked, I guess Donald Trump didn't talk about short selling when he stood up in front of the New York
No, but he
Exchange.
was wearing, Donald Trump was wearing shorts, I heard. I don't know. I have no idea.
So anyway, you might want to talk about DJT or Donald Trump or
So
Melania.
so this morning, I had people going, went into the call this morning long. Okay? I had them all sell at pre-market. My thought process was that everybody's buying it for this movement, and I believe the shorts would, you know, try to knock it down. They sold it and bought it back below 36, and then caught a run back up again. Not all of them did, but three of them have. So again, it keeps giving you a chance to buy the dip, sell the rip at DJT, and just think, if you are playing any of these days with the shorts in it, just think how these shorts think. You know, they're devious, they're trying to take advantage of investors all the time. So just try to think like them.
They think?
Right? Think when they're going to attack or what they're going to do. What's the matter?
They think? Shorts think?
They think about robbing you. That's all they think about doing. That's what they do. Anyway, just on a quick update, KNW traded 5 million shares today. It's got a dead spiral to Lynn Partners on here. And this is my good feeling that Lynn Partners and their friends take some sort of algorithm. There's people that pay to get these algorithms going. And the algorithms get going, and they pay a pretty hefty fee. They get all the volume, and I wouldn't be doubting it that they were shorting into all this volume. That's a little trick that the shorts play that people don't know about. They pay the algorithm guys to go into it and upset the market. This is a stock that traded $2 billion before the market opened up to 36, and then I don't know where it is now. But just, you know, they got all these games these guys play.
So one gentleman's asking you, which stock are you talking about as having an audit?
I think all companies have audits. So it could be any one of them. We talk about it every day. The CEO of Finger Motion said he was doing an audit, and when the audit's complete, everything will proceed with the special dividend. So what we're hearing is that their audit will be complete, and I guess they'll proceed with the special dividend. That's what we're hearing. And the CEO said it himself, mid-December, and mid-December is next week. So maybe we're right on target. There you go. I wouldn't believe the CEO would say that date without actually believing that it would be ready.
Well, he said middle of December, and I guess that falls on a Sunday. So.
Right. So if the 15th, the middle of the month would be between the 15th and 16th. That's what it'll be. So 15th and a half.
Oh, that's good, Robert. I like that. Robert Cooling sold 50% of his NIXS, so the remainder is free. I think that's brilliant. That's just how to do it.
Listen, once you play for free, stop. Listen, you can't be a pig on every trade. Once your stocks start moving and you're profitable, no one's going to yell at you. Make money. No one complains. This isn't diamond hands. This is not a cult. We're here to try to help you understand how to make money and survive. So if you're playing for free, that's great. If you need the money and you want to cash out, you get out whenever you like. No one stops you. So, congratulations, William. People people bought the stock off of you. I had a guy sell NIXX myself today.
I think it's brilliant. I mean, I still like it. I still think next year it's going to go a lot higher, but I think double your money, take half your money off, half your stock off the table, so you take your original investment. I think it's brilliant. I think it's brilliant. I wish I had done that all my last few years.
That's the only way to play, and just stick to your game plan. You never go broke ringing the register. Just remember that.
You never go broke if you're woke. How does it go? How does it go?
That's it. I don't care about those people. So I wanted to talk about something else. I said that I talked about that GMGI, which is tied to K&W. I kept telling you it's going to make a new 52-week low. Well, today it went down to 198, made a new low again. This is a company that got $10 million from Lynn Partners. $10 million and your stock goes down. That tells you that their money is no good. K&W got plenty of money, like $10 million. Their stock went down from 90 cents to 25 cents. Their money is no good. It's toxic. It's dead spiral money. They are criminals. They just short against their debenture. Their debenture is like a get out of jail card, and the companies all sign it. So they're basically having themselves. So stay away from those things. I'm just trying to educate people about what they do.
Why is finger ping ponging around $2? I actually think it's starting to bounce off of $2. But anyway, what are your?
I think that I discussed it with my brother. We think that their prime broker, someone who's funding them, is giving them the riot act, saying, "Hey, if this thing goes over 2, you got to put up a lot more money," you know. And something's going on with that $2 number. We know 220 is their that's when the 1.6 million goes on the water. But this $2 number, something's up where they must be getting pressure from somebody. Because we said the same thing. Just let it go up to 2.25, 2 and they can't do it. The margin kills them. You know, you can't do anything about it.
Okay. Gerald asks, I think I already asked you this. I guess Trump decided not to talk about naked short selling at the opening bell. I think we already talked about that. Sorry, it's hard for me to read with one eye. All right, only regulations enforced on all stocks would be a reason for stock prices going up, in my opinion.
So Tesla's gone up $220 on a short squeeze. GameStop has gone from 20 back up to 30. BJT has gone back up. They're squeezing the stocks. They know it's coming. NIXX was a short squeeze stock. It's going back up. There's plenty of names. The ones that have the biggest problems always last because these guys are going to jail.
Um, 24th is a half day. So Christmas Eve is a half day. 1 o'clock market close. Yep. I don't know what the Friday is. That's Christmas is Wednesday. So I guess Thursday and Friday will be bang up days.
Not many days left for these idiots. Let them keep playing their games. Doesn't make a difference.
19 trading days until Trump is in. No trading on the 20th. He already has 25 executive orders ready to go. Well, how many pardons? Vincent says DJT was loading this morning, and then Kenny Zalgo stopped it. Maybe.
It was up to $37, right?
Yeah.
So instead of talking about Kenny's algorithm and all this nonsense, right? Take advantage of it. So when they spike it up, you should be selling before they attack it. And you should be buying it when they do attack it. I had people buy it all the way down. They didn't play. I think the lowest was 33.40. It went to 32 something the other day on the bear rate. And they turned around and flipped it. You know, they're making 2 points. 3,000 shares of 2 points. They make 6,000 in 2 days. That's how you make money in this game.
So,
All the other bullshit is, you know, we all wait around for the home run swing all the time. You know, they come, but you got to wait for them.
So I guess AMC did a deal with Goldman, and this gentleman says it's a toxic note. So it's a good teaching opportunity. I didn't know they did one. I'll look it up and I'll tell you what I see. But maybe Ham knows something about it.
Listen, all you have to understand is that the AMC chairman has sold you guys out. I put it up a year and a half ago. Our friend was in the skybox with him at the Kansas City football game. We asked him point blank, and he said, "No, I'm building a business. I'm not here to help shareholders out." And that's what he said back then. And I posted it 1,000 times.
What's that?
Just this very funny comment. They want exact times, exact days of movement.
Go back. Yeah, that's when he spoke. AMC. That's when he spoke. So it's a waste of my breath. I told you that. He just raised another 50 million shares to sell, and he's just doing it with whatchamacall, whoever he's doing it with. I don't know. I don't pay attention to it.
If Trump talked about naked short, it would cause a craze. Yeah. ZJYL is going lower and lower. No one talks about it. Could be a good time to slowly accumulate. Yeah, that's thinking, Justin. That's how I think. When people stop talking about it, and you don't know anything has really changed, and the stock price is getting cheaper and cheaper, doesn't mean it can't go lower. That's the time to buy it, though, when no one else is. And you know the story. I mean, the story really hasn't changed. It's just cheaper. So it might make sense to buy it. But, there's no more questions that I see.
Well, on ZJYL, you know, I don't know much about it. My friend's on it. And when we heard about it, it was $300. And I think like 8 people owned the whole company. They did a forward split. So the 8 people just got 20 times more shares. Right?
Yeah.
If they weren't selling at 300, do you think they're selling at 80 cents? It's just a question, Wayne. What do you think?
I'd say no.
And that is correct. I don't believe they are. Now, if you just do the same pattern that happened in GDC crapped out from 380, went to 60 cents. I bought more at 77, and then it spiked to 12. ZJYL looks like it has that same pattern. When is it going to go? I do not know. If I hear something, I will tell you. My friends who owned it, they have $5 million invested in both of those names, and I believe they're still there. They may have traded GDC on the run-up, I don't know. But CJYL has not afforded them a chance to do that. Yes.
Finger is trading at 201. What's going on?
Okay, what's going on? The people are saying that the audit is going to be done on Monday. The news to be out next week. Can I confirm that? No, but that's what people are telling me. That's it. There's nothing else I can say. We all know it's coming. What day? I don't know.
72 cents for 500 shares of ZJYL. I think that's a completely rational trading purchase.
Absolutely. I'm a believer buying when no one wants them.
Yeah,
You
72
get me
cents.
paid every day. Buy them when they don't want them and sell them when they do.
It's not like dating though. You don't date
I don't
them.
think the company wanted to do a 20-for-1 forward split and just let the shorts win. I think they're doing some. I think there's more of a trap being set. I just don't know when it's going to happen. And I don't have the funds to buy it right now.
G-Bucks files for OTCQB. Is that up or down?
I don't know. Where is the stock? I don't know where it is.
Let me look. I gotta.
I told you that they said that stock's going to be a big play in 2025. That's all I know.
Wow, you're rich. It's up
Very
nine. It's up 9 cents at 94 cents. It's got a wide spread though. The bid is 84 cents.
So the way to, if anybody wants to buy 100 shares, you buy 50 at the offer and you bid pick the price. What'd you say, 84? So you bid
84 to
86.
94.
So you buy half at 94 and you bid 86 from the other half. That's the way I would do it. It's not happening till December. They said it's going to be a big play in 2025. So, you know, I bought 10,000 at 75 cents. That's it. And I don't pay attention to it. So the people that are telling me, I told you the story came out of Goldman. How do they know about it? I don't know. But there's rumors of them doing a deal with a $1 trillion market cap company, whoever that may be. Maybe it's Amazon. I don't know. That's the name.
Pretty nice call. Give Bucks up 10% today. That's great.
Wow, I'm up 10%. I'm like Jeff Easton now. I'm up 10%. I can't wait for Jeff Easton to get roasted alive.
All right.
I called my friends in Washington State to get some big apples and put in his fucking fat mouth and roast them.
There's a good question for you. If now 220 is the breaking point for Finger, if it is, what happened October 10th when it hit 240 and November 8th when it hit 227?
So I'm driving a car doing 70, and I'm going to give you the details right off the top of my head, okay? The stock got up to 240 on a Friday. On Monday, they opened it, got to 239. They knocked it down to 227, right? On the close on Friday. And on Monday, they pushed it right back down to 2. So the numbers we were talking about at the time were 230. You can see how it is a big problem for them just by the actions I just described to you. And that is 100% on the nose. And I'm driving, not looking at any data, and I memorize it. And that's how you know that numbers are real.
So those were also probably expiration days on calls.
I don't think there was not enough options to make it
All right. Okay.
happen.
But and so the significance of Friday is they didn't want to carry it over the weekend?
No, it went up. It closed. It went to 239, closed to 227. But Monday came out, they pushed it down to 2 again. And the assault was to push it back down. I've been calculating the numbers and posting it for you. Obviously, those numbers are give and take a couple of pennies to right on the nose.
So why didn't it break out? Because they put the assault on.
They came out, knocked it down before they got. It came out on Monday morning. It closed to 227. They pushed it down to 2. So whatever
Gotcha.
The margin problem went away because the stock went down lower. That's why.
Are your sources credible on the audit?
No.
Okay. Gee, bucks.
If you like me to write it in stone, no. But Wall Street is about people that you know that have a good track record. And if you remember, William, I told everybody in GDC that the people that were in it, even though it got so ugly for me, I believed in them, right?
Right.
And what happened? It went down. It was ugly. Thank God I averaged down. And then it turned and it screamed to 12, and I told everybody to sell it. But that's the easy money.
She believes in me.
And that's because I believe the source and the people that I trust, they're not always right. But you got to have a gut feeling sometime, right?
That's right.
You know who one of my clients was?
Sharon
Was
Stone.
Ivan Boesky.
Oh.
I don't know if anybody knows who Ivan Boesky is.
He drank a lot of coffee.
Ivan Boesky was one of the great corporate raiders and insider trading guys ever. And I spoke to him every day. He was so stupid on the phone. You think he was trained under Jeff Easton. That's how stupid he was. You know, so when you heard him talk about a stock, you would sit there and scratch your head and say, this guy is so stupid, he can't possibly be right. And all of a sudden, everything he spoke about was right on the nose, and their stocks are going up $10, $15. So you don't know. But, you know, you got to listen to people sometimes, you know. You don't know.
What are you hearing on multiple listing service, MLSS?
The news is out. I believe that the company will gradually move up, act like shit. And my good friend, who you met, is a great guy, and I'm just following his lead. He told me to stay put. I'll stay put. Listen, I'm not a believer in chasing people down every day for information. Stocks go up and down, and as long as I believe in what I'm following, I'll stay with it.
Fingers 203. Let me get a spread.
Oh my God. Wait, my hair's starting to grow back in my head now because it's 203.
202 bid, 204 ask, 5,400 for sell. They didn't get it all done. They never seem to get that ticket finished. They've had that block of stock for sale for a year and a half. They can't get through that block.
Just remember, as an investor, you can only sell your stock one time. So if it is a real long seller, when they're done, they're done. But we have never ending. You know, it's just amazing. You can take an offer and they'll be taken out, and someone else jumps in. It's like, well, you sell first, and I'll follow you. That's what they want it to look like. And it's okay. Like I said, if the stock was 20, I would have concern. But the stock is here. They basically trapped themselves by selling the stock lower. They made the stock an attractive buy by themselves. What is today? Today's Thursday. We don't have many days to go. I told you before, I'm a firm believer in, I don't believe in anything but trying to do it yourself. I believe Trump is going to come out and smack these guys around. I don't know what he's waiting for, but it's going to come. When he helps himself, he helps them over.
You got to believe in something.
Well,
Don't do a toupee.
I'm gonna go when Finger Motion wins and we have a big party in Las Vegas. I'm gonna show up with the worst toupee ever.
Like the guy in Goodfellas.
I'm actually gonna whoa. I'm gonna show up like what's his name? I'm gonna look like the owner of the Raiders. What's that guy's name? The owner of the Raiders. I can't remember his name. He's got the worst haircut in creation.
Did you
Al
get
Davis's son.
Did you get on that call with DJT people like you said?
I'm waiting. He was traveling to Mexico, the gentleman. They promised me as soon as they set it up, I will be on it. I will tell you everything about it.
UOKA. All right, I'll look at it. UOKA. UOKA. That's a stock to look at. UOKA. Davis. The name is Davis, but I think you already figured it out. Sunil's going to be there in Vegas to make fun of your toupee.
You can, as long as the stock goes crazy, you can say whatever you like.
Toupee. Touche.
I'm gonna wear the toupee out and have it fall out off my head in front of a crowd so they can all laugh at me.
We'll be laughing with you. Well, there aren't. Oh, there's. When we win. Apollyon is going to buy you a wig if we win.
You can just buy me. I'll wear a mop head. I don't care.
Like curly?
Listen, I just want to carry these guys out for everybody here. I've been doing this 24 years.
That's what you're saying.
I hear the frustration in a lot of people's voices. And you know what? I want it to be a winner for everybody. And I want you guys to have something that you'll always remember. I believe that this is a life-changing situation. And the only reason we have this life-changing situation is due to security fraud.
Finger is 203 to 204. 600 by 1900. 216,000 shares.
Just remember that out of the 216,000, I'll say 80% of that is fake. And that was all done before, and I posted it many times all day. They're watching trades the last 3 days.
Nick's going to shave his head if we win. Save the hair. Ham needs it for his wig.
Listen, when we win, you can color my egg like a Christmas ornament. Or an Easter egg, whatever you want to call it.
That's what hats are for.
I never have to worry about a windy day combing my hair. That's what I'm
If finger motion runs, everybody makes profits, would you still, and it pulls back, would you buy finger as a long-term hold?
Yeah, I mean, it depends on the price. Yeah, we may not get the round trip that, You know, GameStop had a big round trip, 500, always back down, you know, AMC. You know, if it went like let's say it went like AMC, from here to 70, back to $5, Finger Motion's fundamentals would make that a buy, $5.
Finger 204, 20394.
There you go. Listen, I followed the CEO. He said mid-December, and people are hearing it away from, I haven't heard anything, and big shareholders are saying that next week. So it's not something that's earth-shattering. It's an audit with a dividend. That's it. All we have to wait to get the dividend. The shorts know it's coming. They know they're going to get the hammer. They know it. Why don't they run and buy it? Well, think about it. You got to go in the other room and kill yourself. That's why they're not doing it. It's not easy to go out there and cover stock when you don't have the money to buy it back.
It's not easy.
So there's that guy. What was that guy's name? Bill Hung, whatever. He went to jail for 18 years for security fraud. If you were going to face 18 years, you'd be sitting there trying to do whatever you can, right? And that's what our friends have been doing. Anything they can. I discussed the short interest with everybody and the dates to cover. We did that yesterday in detail. I hope everyone understands that. The real short says it's 10 days to cover 1.6 million. That's if that volume is correct. I don't believe Finger Motion is going to be a big trader. I think it's going to trade like 30,000 shares a day with all said and done. So 30 into 1.6 million is like 54 days. Round it down, make it 50. It's not 10 days. It's going to take 50 days to cover. And if the shorts bought every share, 30,000 shares per day, they bought every share, it would take 50 days. I don't think they'll be able to buy 30,000 shares a day. There'll be 10 other people buying with them. So that's not going to be 50 days. It's going to be 150 days to cover. That's just the 1.6 million. Imagine the 230 gets split up behind it. That's what you're looking at. And these idiots are trying to hold it down. To sell it, they basically sold stock lower just to try to hold it down. So they're basically, you know, Williams always said it. It's like holding what do you say, a balloon underwater. What's it?
A bald head under a bathtub. No, a balloon,
Right.
under a beach ball.
A beach ball underwater. Eventually, it's gonna pop up. Or like Busy Brands used to say, or Pat Burns used to say, they had their foot on a landmine. As soon as they lift it, that's when it blows. I put up the story before. Pat Burns' final farewell to the short sellers was a special dividend. Just Google it. Just Google Pat Burns short squeeze. Read the top story. It went from $3 to 128. Not $30, $3. What else you got, William?
I seriously don't understand why Martin Shannon doesn't come out and say something positive about the company, a press release, etc. The price has stayed the same forever. One, he can't do that. If his goal is to say something to make the price go up, he goes to jail.
If he goes to jail. You their lawyers. If I was the CEO, you would hear stuff every day.
That's a
But
fact check.
these CEOs are afraid because the lawyers tell them, you can't say that, you can't do this, you can't do that. That's what they say all the time.
Oh, can't do that.
They're under control.
Everybody sees.
And if you say anything, the SEC sends them a letter, they got to get their lawyers, and it costs you $50,000 to explain why you said something. William, the term is, it's preparing the market for good news, something like that.
Can't do it. Not gonna do
That's
it.
the term they always tell me. You can't say that, you're preparing the market. They don't say anything.
But
Listen, they
if
go
you
too
are
far.
crappy Barra, you can write a report that you're paid for by the shorts to destroy a stock.
Right, they can
And
do
then
whatever
if
they
you're a
want.
shill, you can come on and say, oh, they all go down. They're always going down. What if the company's just a bad company? It's all of a piece.
Well, William, for the gentleman that said you never have any winners, NIXX is a nice winner. I have people that make $2, $3, and they all thank you. They told me to say thank you.
I'm glad
I never
people are
do much of
making
that.
money. I'm glad people are making money. I think there's more in it, but I having said that, I think it's brilliant to take money off the table. It's double. I mean, you know, I look back on all the stocks that we, you know, if I had taken anybody here taken half our money off, half our stock off, when they went up, they doubled. Hey, we'd all be happy today.
They all have an opportunity. If you want to trade them, you're welcome to do it. Right? But I'm a believer in that. We never know what's going to lead. And I believe that you always have to take some sort of profit.
So Bill wants to know, do you believe a dividend will cause the Finger stock price to rise? And I'll add, he didn't ask, if so, when?
That's a great question. So Tuesday or Wednesday, they said next week they expect news on the dividend. So there's a date. And for the stock to rise, but again, everyone listen to this. You are now the short seller. The dividend will make you short 10% more. So if you are making short 230 million, you now are going to be short 23 million more. And you don't get 1 penny for it. On the 230 million shares they sold short before, they have the money in their accounts of everything they sold. And that money is a $3.70 average. So it's pretty sizable. It's about $800 million, right? That's in an account somewhere. And the only way they get the money out is when they close the transaction. So they don't get that money in their pocket. The prime broker's holding on to it. So they're sitting there, and when that money gets used up, then they're on the hook. So at 370, and every time the stock goes up above 370, they're going to lose $230 million. Each dollar up once it goes above 370. That's a big problem coming up. And just to show you how stupid they are, the most they can make is $3.70, and the most they can lose is infinite. And that's where we are right now. You know the numbers. The real short is 1.6 billion. The most they can make is $2.20. And you say, why is someone borrowing shares to short the stock? Well, whoever it is doesn't have the access to make it short. They're obviously not a market maker. They're a friend. And we'll call that friend Mrs. Easton because she's a regular person. Jeff Easton put her into it, and the reason she sold 1.6 million was to try to add some more weight, more selling pressure to the stock. But Jeff Easton doesn't want to kill his own mother, so I look for her to cover first. Unless you hate your mother, then you let her cover last. That's how that works.
If China approves their stimulus for their people, would that be positive for Finger?
I think if China does anything in their economy, it's good for Finger.
I think if China starts spending on emergency vehicles, it might help.
People will use their cell phones more. People moving around will create more data. People will do text messaging.
Pilot to the Moon says the Dow is tanking. It's down 208. I'm laughing because from 44,000 to be down 200 is nothing. I remember when the Dow was 1,600 and it could go down 200 points and you'd be sweating.
Wait, that sounds like it was during the Civil War.
Well, I was on the side of Kentucky. Barbara made some money on Nick's, thanking you and me. You're welcome. Are you going to be passing passing on information after Finger runs?
We'll try to help you out.
My opinion on the dividend is initially Wall Street will try the same old game of putting that dividend in your account and nothing will happen. That's my opinion. It won't do anything. However, there's two brokerage firms out there. Fidelity, who was paying 1,000% last time when Finger looked like it was squeezing, and Wells Fargo, who took away the buy button. I think those two firms are going to be really in trouble if they don't go out and cover those dividends, because if they ever get into court, if they're ever before a regulator, a good lawyer is going to say, well, you say your systems didn't catch that. How come a year and a half ago or 2 years ago, you had the exact same problem? So anyway, the initial, I don't think it'll do anything, but I think Fidelity and Wells Fargo could be the two firms that have to do something, and it could trigger buy-ins. But
So I'm going to give you my opinion on it.
okay.
It's the opposite of Williams. Okay? And everyone is entitled to their opinions, right?
Yeah.
Just let me take my coat off. Is that the company is issuing this dividend. It's a warrant. This is different. This is a tradable warrant. This is no longer a journal entry in your account. You can trade it. You can sell it. They need to put this in your account. This is something that is live. And with the new SEC chair coming in, I think there's a lot of eyes that are going to be on this special dividend. And we will make sure that the truck is in front of the SEC, giving them all the gory details on the finger motion dividend. So I think there's going to be a lot of heat around this name.
I mean, at least it's an attempt to do something.
It's an attempt to expose this system. Now, do I really think that Jeff Easton is going to be protected by anybody this day and there? No way. He's low-hanging fruit. He's the first guy they're going to hang, is Jeff Easton. Ken Griffin's going to be the last guy.
would you buy the $3 February calls for 20 cents?
I love those type of calls.
February, I think, is enough time, but if it's your first position, I would try to see what May or June is, because anyway, Narad, the thing that I think is going to finally bring this company out of all this, being flat, is when they report their full year numbers for 25, which is right now, and for their fourth quarter. So that's the end of February. So you've got March and April. You've got April 15th. So I would say April or May if you could afford them. But I think it's a good idea. I think you're going to be pleased with their fourth quarter numbers.
There's no reason to go that far out.
Yeah. Just because you're risking more
You're
money.
paying more premium for something. It's stupid.
And Roddy's right. Lots of times, if you pay 20 cents for the February 21s, threes, it's the February 21st. If you go out to the next 3 months later, you might pay 40, 50 cents, 60 cents. You'd be better off just buying the 20s, waiting if they expire worthless, and then paying 20 cents for the next ones. You'd be better off. So Ham's right about that.
Listen, cheap out. You're paying $20 to have the right. Basically, you have the right to be long the stock at $3.20.
I have the right to
If
my
we think
own
the stock
opinion.
if we think the stock is going to the moon, 20 cents for the right to own the stock. Listen, the stock isn't a warrant, an option itself. It doesn't expire. If you bought the stock, where's the stock at? Wait, I can't get any quotes.
The
Give me a
stock
live quote.
is 201, but let me see it's 201 bid, 204 ask, 500
So
by
let's say you
2800.
bought 1,000 shares at $2.05, and the stock you sell it at $2.50. You make 45 cents. You could buy the 350s for 20 cents. Not the 3s, the 350s, because they'll be cheaper. And you could use the 40 cents you made in the stock to buy your call. You could buy a $5 call for January, probably at 10 cents or 15 cents. So imagine buying the stock here, pay $2, sell it at $2.50, take that profit of 40 cents, and you go out and buy cheap calls, 10-cent options. Right? You could buy 50 of them, for $500. That's equivalent to 5,000 shares. And you'd be long at $5.10.
I know it's expensive, but I would buy the $2 May calls at 55 cents.
Listen, I'd rather buy more of the. I'll give you an example. Here, wait.
The February $2 calls are 40 cents.
Let's do the math and show you how it works. Right?
All right.
All right. So you're gonna pay. You said 40 cents for the 2.5. That's $3, right?
Yeah.
Let's say you buy 10. Let's say you buy 10.
All right.
All right. You got to put up $450. You bought 10 options. The stock goes to 10. 10 minus the 3. That's your break even. You make $700, right? Correct.
Yeah, sounds right.
If you buy 20 of the $3 calls, 20 times 20 is $400. You're getting it cheaper, right? And you have twice as many. You have 20. You make $6, right? And you have 20 calls. You make $1,200. Do you see the math how it works?
Yeah.
10 calls, 10 minus 3 is 7. You make $700. 20 calls of the 3s, okay, and it goes to 10. You make 7 times 20 is $1,400. Now, if you bought 30 of the 4s, you would make $6 times 30, which is $1,800.
Sounds like you've given this a lot of thought.
I've done this a zillion and a zillion and one times. You make more money in the garbage options. But you need the stock to go, or else your garbage options are garbage.
Yep.
But when you catch an option play, that's just like I described to you, you know, there's a lot of garbage options. When they go, you kill them.
Whether my boring instincts or Ham's leverage instincts are correct, the one thing you can say is the time premium in those calls is low right now. So it's a good time if you have that inclination to
So
make
when
that trade.
DJT starts running like it was doing this morning to 37, anybody who ran out there to buy calls because the stock was moving basically got their ass kicked, right?
Yeah.
So I'm a firm believer in buy the dip, which someone just texted me it was down on the day. You buy the dip. This is the time to stop buying back in. When it runs up, this could be the third time you could have done it today in this crazy day.
DJT's down. So that you're projecting next week for the dividend. I'm not. What
No, listen, I'm not projecting anything.
what he said is he's hearing from 3 different sources that the audit will be complete by next Monday, and he presumes that there will be an announcement about that. The dividend has to be approved still by the SEC. What Martin's interview said is there should be no problem with it being approved because they've already asked all the other questions. However, he said the SEC can do anything, so we have to wait and see.
Yeah, well, that's the old SEC. We have a new SEC, new sheriff in town. So I think that things are going to move smoothly. That's my opinion, and I think that this is all going to be good. It doesn't make a difference. Jeff Easton and his buddies are low-level criminals. This stock has brought enough heat to DC and the SEC and the DOJ and the FBI, Devin Nunes. Everybody knows who we are. The only people that are not here are the hedge funds that everyone on this phone wants to go out there and buy the stock and make you happy. But they always come later. That's the game.
So
this isn't GameStop where it's well known. This is a finger motion. This is not a well-known company. It's not IBM. It's not Apple. All right? Everyone knows AMC. There's zillions of people worldwide. Finger motion is not there. When finger motion gets there, you won't have an opportunity to buy the stock. So if you believe in it, you buy it before. And you buy it before, there's no volatility. The risk is it's much less. If you want to go chasing it, for example, NIXX, William still likes it. I have people that sold it. You know what? Would you go out there, if you're going to go to buy it today, and you wanted to jump in at whatever it is, 530, 540, you can say, well, the stock just went up 2 points. Should I chase it? It's a hard
I don't think you should chase it. And I think
So that's what I'm trying to say.
I actually think it could pull back. Like, it's like you say, you sell the rips. I don't know. It looks strong, though. It's behaving like a beast. And you can't argue with the tape. But I still would be more inclined to do what some of you have done. You doubled your money. Do you remember, Ham, when in your lifetime trading, when you double your money in a month, would that be a good trade?
Oh my God, if you doubled your money, you'd run.
80% on your money you'd run.
I used to trade. I buy 300 calls at $3. I put up 90,000. If it ran to $3.50 bid, I sell it. 300 times 50 cents, I make 15,000. You didn't even have to call me to sell those things. I was selling them. And if you told me the stock tomorrow is going to go up to $80, I didn't care. I wanted to make my 15,000. I could care less.
And your mother said, I don't understand how you make a living. So.
And I said, I didn't understand either. I said, I paid $3 and I sold it at $3.50 and I got $15,000. So let's go to dinner.
Your father had to work, get up at 3 a.m.
Oh, God.
What do you do? But just to be clear, you received information that the audit is going to be completed by next week.
And listen, I once bought a stock that moved from 9 to 20. We took it up from 9 to 20 on a takeover. It was supposed to happen over the weekend. It was supposed to happen at $30 a share. We were all happy, laughing. It was Friday. We couldn't wait till Monday. We were loaded. We all had everybody in it. And the guy went out on Friday night. He was supposedly going to make the bid for the company. Got in a limousine, was doing cocaine, had a heart attack, and died. And I read about it in the New York Times on Saturday morning because everybody was calling up. He died. There was no takeover, and the stock went down to 3. And we all got killed. So you never know. What else? That's what happens, right?
Sometime a bird in the bush is better than a bird in the hand.
That's why I'm always a better believer in trading stocks. And you make your decisions as it goes. I'm sure some people had sold it when it went from 9 to 20. But I didn't. We knew, we kind of had a feeling that was going to happen on Monday, and the guy dropped dead.
We've all got it coming, kid.
We all cursed him out. Fucking guy, goddamn, he dropped dead. He couldn't live till Tuesday. We all said the same thing.
Last time Ham and William disagreed, Trump was elected. Yeah. Look, I don't mind people disagreeing. I'm unlike, and neither does Ham. I just want people to be able to defend their point of view. Say no squeezing finger, but Ham says squeeze. You two need to settle this disparity out in the open with us. I didn't say there's no squeezing finger. Sid, just to be clear, what I said before Ham came on, I said we're coming to near the end of the year, and I just don't see anything happening in anything until January. And that includes finger. And I said, I think Ham feels a little bit differently. He thinks the shorts could, I'll let him speak for himself. But I've been very clear. I think Finger's best forward situation is when, with its earnings, which I think the third quarter earnings will be come sa. Fourth quarter is when I expect it'll be good. If they can start talking about forward revenue, cash flow, and earnings that are positive, that are predictable, repeatable, and growing, and they can say it in 1 or 2 sentences. We expect our growth in the data, such and such data revenue agreement with Pacific Life Re to grow at this rate. I think the stock moves and finds a new level. And from that new level, the people who have undelivered shares are going to feel pain, and it won't go away because the stock will stay at that new level and they keep losing money every day. And at some point, they have to come in and cover those shares. That's how I see it. Ham sees it differently because he's been counting the trades for 2.5, 3 years, 4 years. I'll let Ham answer.
So I'm the complete opposite of that. William is talking about the fundamentals that are going to kick in. We all agree that the fundamentals are coming and they're going to kick in a big way. We all agree on that. I think that there's a new sheriff in town, and I think this shit's going to hit the fan. I believe Trump is going to spank these guys, and there's going to be enforcement actions against the naked short sellers. All right? I'm seeing a lot of stocks. The market's melting up. That tells me shorts are covering all over the place. People are not running in to buy stocks because every company's doing fantastic. It's not true. All right? The market's melting up because shorts are covering. And I think that this shit's going to hit the fan. The people in the know, all right, are starting to buy stocks. The people in the know don't know about Finger Motion because Finger Motion is a small cap company in a big boys game. It's well known in the short squeeze circle. So when the short squeezes start to pop, the gang is going to run here. And the gang always comes later. The big money gang comes later. I was reporting on GameStop at $3.75. I had to beg people to buy it. Beg. And I showed them all the data. People bought it. They listened to me. And what did they do? They paid 3 3/4. They were flipping it out at 7, 9, 12, 18, like numbers like that. And they were laughing and couldn't believe they made so much money on a piece of shit stock. That's what they all said. And they all ran away. And guess what? 2 months later, they were calling back crying. I can't believe I sold it. It's 500. I would have made this much money. Because they didn't believe it, how high it could go. I didn't think it was going to go that high because I didn't really know every detail about it. Finger motion, you know every detail about it for 5 years. Every detail. We know about Lynn Partners. We know the company took money from them. We knew the company paid it off. My friends gave the money to the company to pay off Lynn. How much more do you need to know? Lynn knows. We all know that the company went to pay back Lynn, and Lynn wouldn't take the money back with interest. They wanted stock. The company got rid of them. All right? These guys are bad guys.
And
They didn't have the protection of the death spiral note anymore. Once they lost that death spiral note, that's when they put their noose around their neck, and they thought they could just win a brute force. And that's where I come in. And I basically said to them, fuck you, we're not going away.
And the problem is you're not going to be able to buy the stock the week before a squeeze or 3 days before it. You'll start feeling the tension in the market. You won't be able to build your position. That's just life. We have to wait and wait and wait.
Listen, if a company, okay, people were buying XRP because they believed it was going to become the new whatever, right?
Yeah.
And those people, like the guy Lou, everyone said he was talking about it, buying it below $1, all right? Those people had the opportunity to get in below $1 for as long as they wanted. Was it a year and a half? And then it took off and went to 3.
Yeah.
Okay? So would you rather bought in below $1 or would you rather chased it up to 3? So William always says, our expenses are time. That's what it is.
Yeah, that's our arbitrage. The other thing that I think in the near term, although it may not apply, but you have to be aware of it, is people have 3 weeks, 2.5 weeks to take tax losses if they want to. Anyway, I just think it's going to be quiet till the end of the year. No one rings the.
Let me give you an example about that, everybody.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's usually quiet. He's right. But I remember on a New Year's Eve, a shortened day in the market, and a company came out and there was some sort of great news on something. And this is a time where we never saw stocks move $30, $40. That was like insane.
All right.
And I can't remember the name of the company, but it ran up $28 on a Christmas Eve or a New Year's Eve. It ran up.
Wow.
And at that point, it destroyed people, I heard.
Because they were.
We couldn't believe it. Imagine thinking that you were going to sit here, get through the day and the year, and all of a sudden this thing goes out of control at that point.
Wow.
You know, these people got murdered. And that's the only time I've ever seen anything on a day like that. You know, it was really quiet, and we're all sitting around saying, hey, have a good New Year, and the thing just took off, and everybody was talking about it. It was like, for example, like that stock DRUG went from 2 to 78.
Oh, yeah. Where's Doug right now? Still trading up?
DRUG, I don't know.
Oh, no, not drug. Was that the net? Was it, or was it DUG? I guess it was DRUG.
No, it was DRUG. It was called drug.
All right. Let me look.
It went to 2 to whatever. And
why don't we ever get one of those? It's still $38. Wow.
Imagine if it happened. Imagine if that happened like on a New Year's Eve. Oh my God, it would have went to 200 because there would have been no sellers around because people weren't around.
Is finger motion Martin Shan limiting? By the way, he spells it with an S. Limiting their market to China. Fingers never mentioned wanting to go beyond China. I don't think that's true.
That's not true. And I'll give you an example. He said it many times in their interviews that they are expanding. They're looking to expand outside of China. Now, I don't know any place that they can expand to. I haven't heard anything about that. But, you know, Indonesia's right there. It's the fourth largest population in the world behind India and China. And I posted something like that to Roaring Kitty. And I said, hey, Roaring Kitty, you know anything about Indonesia? That's where I hear they're going next, is Indonesia. I'm not sure about it, but that's what I heard. I don't know what they could be doing there, but that's where I hear they're going next.
Boat Bum remembers trading on fractions, in fractions. Wow. That's what we did.
I was the king of that. I was the king. A teeny, an 8, 3 teenies, a quarter, 5
30
teenies,
second. And what was great, what
7 TVs.
guys like Ham would be down there trading with Boski, but he would put out on the Squawk Box at the end of the day to the system, we've got 50,000 shares of whatever Polaroid at 51 3/4, and you can take a half, and in other words, your client wouldn't know you're making 50 cents, and they're paying a commission. Or you could have the discretion of telling the client that they wouldn't have to pay commission. But anyway, that was the good old days when you could hide commission.
There was brokers, there was commission. People were picking stocks, investing. People don't pick stocks anymore.
No.
Most people here don't understand that. Most money is called managed money now, where you work as a broker. You're a broker. You go to a firm and you gather assets. I go to Williams Company. He's got 10 employees. We want them to put all their pension money, everything with Morgan Stanley. Morgan Stanley gives it to their in-house money managers, and brokers don't even know anything about the market anymore. All they talk about is the returns of the money manager that's going to be managing their money. And how do I know that? I have a good friend, Ira. He's probably, we were trading like crazy. Ira was building a book 35 years ago, building. He's one of the biggest guys now. He's got billions under management. I think he's with UBS. He sold his book for $40 million. And he still gets a big override of what he does. And I ask him all the time, what do you think of the market? Because I don't give a shit. I don't know anything. I just want it to go up, because if it goes up, I get an override. That's all he knows. And this is an educated guy with billions under management. Knows nothing. I don't even think he knows IBM symbol. That's how stupid it is. And before, we had to know everything. You had to know symbols. You had to know stocks. And the game has changed.
Peace, Abdul Razik. Peace to you. Is the dividend paid in stock? Well, Ham.
It's going to be a warrant.
Yeah, it's a warrant. Yeah, but is it paid in stock? Yes, I believe. No, it's not. It's a right to exercise into stock.
It's the right to exercise the stock. You can sell it though.
Yeah, it'll be publicly traded.
It's publicly traded. So I don't think your brokerage firm is going to give you an IOU.
How would the dividend be any different from the GTII dividend? The GTII dividend was just a share of stock. This is a warrant as a dividend, and the warrant is like a call option. It just has as they say in North Carolina, a further expiration date. So. Kind of call.
The GTI dividend was the right to exercise, but you had to pay the transfer agent. The transfer agent would then send the share back to your brokerage account, right? So if William wanted to exercise, he would tell Merrill Lynch, I want to exercise. Merrill Lynch would tell William, hey, if you exercise this and give the company the money, let's say you give them 3,000 shares at $3 at $9,000. We're not letting the transfer agent wire the shares back into your account. They're not going to put them electronically. We won't allow it. And you're saying, why? And they go, we're just not going to allow it.
That's how they screwed it up. Yeah.
They didn't have the dividends to exercise.
That's interesting. So they fought back.
They were shutting people down. people wanted to do it. The stock went to $9 GTII.
Oh, that's the
They
first
exercised
of, that's
it
the
on
first time.
275. Why wouldn't you pay the company $275 and sell it at $8? But they were threatening people because they said they would, you do it, we won't let you put it back in your account. So you would give money to the company and you can't get your certificate back.
So you've made $2,500 on your G-Bucks acquisition. The bid is now $1.
Is it really?
And the last trade is $1.04.
Is it 2025 yet?
Nope.
So then I don't care.
Nope. What happened to the money you guys funded for the movie? We stole it. I had a heck of a party. Your money, if you put it up, you were the sucker. I took that money and I went and bought drugs and
I
hookers.
just want to let anybody know I received $10,000 from West Christian. I helped him out. I got a consultant fee, and I gave it straight to the movie people, $10,000.
And I,
So
Anthony,
if
went
anybody
down.
who wants to know where his money is to be made, and you know what? They were good people. What they bumped into and what they done, I couldn't give a rat's ass. I knew it when I gave it was going out the window. And you know what? I'm pissed off about it too, but you know, I did my part. I did as much as I could.
I
And
went
told
down,
you
I
something.
spent 6 hours with them on option expiration Friday. Everybody was calling me, Ham, where are you? Are you dead? Why aren't you there? Why aren't you there? And then some chick was calling me and another guy. Hey, Ham wants you down there. Why aren't you there? Blah, 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 blah. So I hauled down there. I spent the entire trading day. I bought them lunch. And I didn't get home in time to close out my positions. I wiped, my account was wiped out, completely wiped out. And, but you know, you're basically accusing that somehow what happened to the money. That's how you phrased your question. I think a better question, Anthony, would be how come it's taking so long for those guys to finish the movie? Do they need more money, or is it they need more content? I heard they needed more content to make it successful. But I'm not a movie producer. They're real people. They look like they knew what they're doing. I have no idea why it's taking so long. It was not my project. But
Whoever that is, when you get a chance, find out where my 10,000 is. So do me a favor, get back to me on that.
that might be the most honest thing you've said. Screw you, Anthony. Screw you. Get rid of Anthony. Because you asked a valid question. Yeah, Anthony, you didn't ask a valid question. The way you phrased it was accusing that we raised money to scam. How much did you lose, Anthony? Let me know. I'll send you a check. Show me the proof you even contributed. You put in $50. I'll send you $65, Anthony. God.
Listen, stop. We all
People like him spend time. He's not always right. Other people are working on the space calls down in Congress, and they're actually doing positive things to make the world better. And you come in and shit on everybody. You know what? I don't need it. I don't need it. I don't need it.
No, listen. Listen. I'll get him a sign. I'll meet him in D.C. I'll get him a sign and let him parade around for a day with the sign.
I'm too mad for somebody that didn't do something wrong.
Listen, again, move on. Any other questions? Let's go. I don't talk about that.
All right, I'm gonna let that guy go. It's unbelievable. Unbelievable.
Jeff Easton, we're doing this to fight guys like Jeff Easton. We don't need you to fight us.
Unbelievable. It's unbelievable.
Oh, relax. It's over. Where is finger motion?
I bought lunch for 8
All
people?
right, we got it. There's a movie.
I don't know what the
We're
hell.
gonna see-
I doubt Anthony put $10 in.
Oh, who cares? Where's finger motion?
Where in SC? Where in SC? Oh, Southern California. Finger motion is 202, 201 to 204, $500 to $3,100, and volume is 229.
Mhm.
All fake. But you know the good thing about it, they did get the 287 shares in there.
Right.
It's so silly.
Right.
So John, thank you for joining. I don't know if I'll have time to do it today, but I heard something about platinum from Mark Farber. He believes that platinum could squeeze like cocoa or another commodity. He thinks platinum is on the verge of a short squeeze, just so you know.
What is it trading at, platinum?
I have no idea, but it's a small market. It's at a low compared to gold, and he thinks it's on the verge. 818 is where it's trading. Somebody said. Mark,
What's the difference between platinum and palladium?
it's spelled differently. I think palladium goes in your car, and platinum goes on your shelf. I don't know.
Oh, okay. I didn't know what they were.
I don't know. I don't know either. But platinum, John loves platinum, and he's been talking about it for a long time. Mark Farber didn't say he believes it's more of a commodity play, a squeeze play. I don't even know what the uses of platinum are, actually.
Well, I thought they put it. I remember they said they put it in catalytic converters.
I thought that was palladium, or maybe that's platinum. I don't know.
Actually, I wanted them.
The 2 Ps. The 2 Ps in a pod. Does Sprott have a platinum ETF? Yeah, but I think it's combined, platinum and palladium. I can look it up, and when Ham's off, I'll look it up. But he's not interested.
You lost me already. I have no.
Yeah, his mind is already either on pickleball or Jameson Williams or
I have a great pickleball story.
on how many shares somebody shorted.
I have a great pickleball story for you, Boom. I played yesterday, and I'm playing intermediate because I can't play the advanced because I can't run. So I go on the court, and I'm playing with a woman, and her name is Lulu. And I introduced myself, nice to meet you. And she was standing in the front, and we playing against 2 guys that were hitting the ball hard to her. And I said, Lulu, why don't you move back a little bit? You're going to get hurt there, right? That's all I said to her. She scolded me for 10 minutes. Don't you dare tell me what to do. I'm like, what? I says, okay. I didn't say anything else. So I did anyone who plays pickleball will know what I'm talking about. She was standing in the front, and when the gentleman hit the ball to me, I put it right back to them, right in front of her, and I had them smash the ball and hit her. And that shut her up quickly. That was the end of that. I'm just showing you what a nice guy I am.
Wow.
So if that means anybody who plays the game would understand what I did.
John stacking gold, silver, and platinum. Makes sense. Donnie, thank you.
Hey, listen, for people that believe in the precious metals, my brother is a special metals person, and he's always, when you sit down and talk to him, my older brother, he just,
it's a bug.
He just sees all into it. He talks about what the price of nickel is, what the price of copper is going to be, all the electric cars, how many pounds of copper in an electric car. It's like, and to me, it just goes right over my head. I could care less. But if you know what you're talking about, that's how you make a lot of money.
You got some humor back for your story.
They understand what I was talking about.
It's not worth it. And how would a guy have reacted to that? Either screw you or hey, thanks, I'll move.
You would just say, all you have to say is, hey, thanks for the heads up, and you know what, I can handle it. I would take there and say, okay, no problem, as long as you don't know what you're doing there. You're standing in the firing line. You want to stand there and get hit? Knock yourself out. I was trying to protect them. You don't want to listen? Screw you. Now I gave the ball to them and said, guys, all I didn't say, all I had to do was yell, guys, I'm going to hit it back to you. Put the ball between her eyes. That's what I was basically saying. She wanted to play, knock her out. Make her kill us.
Nunya has made money listening to you. Learned a lot about the way the real market works.
Well, I'm glad you understand it. Any questions? Listen, when this goes away, the nickel short trade is going away soon. And in which case, you're going to have to learn how to trade the equity markets. So this is important that you understand it. The naked short selling trade is going away.
Or as they say in Texas, naked.
Well, it's going to go away. Settlement's going to be enforced. And these opportunities, these life-changing opportunities are going away. And that's what I keep trying to stress to you. This cannot last forever. They cannot have stocks like GameStop going from nothing to 500 and people losing billions on top of billions. Now they know the problem is there. They tried to hide it from all of us. Only we all know about it now, and now they have to fix it because everybody knows. The cat's out of the bag, as they say. We all know about it, and the opportunity to make a lot of money is staring down the face. The SEC knows it. So they need to clean this thing up. If they clean it up in one day, let's say they turn off the faucet and said, no more naked short selling today, that means that finger motion would just start rising like a cake. It'll just start rising, right? And now what do? The stock is gonna melt up, and they can't stop it. So I think what they're doing is they're turning it slowly. If it's open 100%, I think it's open 75% now. In 2 weeks, that valve may be only open 55%. January 20th comes, it may be opened up, 10%. You understand? And that's how it's going to keep rising. And as it rises, the shorts get slaughtered. That's what happens. The government wants that money back in the U.S. Jeff Easton is trying to take it and send it to Australia. The U.S. wants that money back here. That's where we're at.
That's a good point, actually.
They can't have these guys just running away. They want that money back here. So if they do it slowly and steady, they just keep taking it until, listen, there's going to be losses. There's going to be big losses here. I told you, I think VIRT, it's a $5 billion market cap. I think it's going to be zero. Because no one's going to be paying for order flow. Why would you pay for order flow if there's no guarantee you can make money from it? I wouldn't pay for it. Fuck you. That's going to go away. The payment for order flow is going to go away. Citadel, Virtue, all these guys are going to go away. So no one's going to be trading against your order flow anymore. I wouldn't be surprised that the future is going to go back to having the firms have their own trading desk, which they're all closed up. They're going to have to go back in business again. Once they go in business, they have expenses, this, that, things like that, So the game is going to change. They're not going to have guys like Virtue who has to pay Goldman Sachs for his order, and then when they get the order, they say, we can't short it? No. They're going to say, what are we going to do? So we're going to lose. We have to take the other side of the bet. We know nothing about A, B, C. If they came to you and said, hey, I got 100,000 ABC to buy, are you going to short it, not knowing anything about it? No, because if it goes up, you get killed. So they don't want those orders anymore. Virtue may come out and say, hey, we only want to take orders in Apple Computer and Tesla. I can see them doing that, specializing in those orders. But they can't take orders in 10,000 stocks, they'll get killed. They don't know what's going on. If they can't short it and manipulate it and hold it down, they will not play. And their businesses will go away. And I don't understand how, if I was Ken Griffin, I would go in today and say, listen, I had a heart attack last night, I'm out of the game, good luck, take it easy, and just walk away from it. The firm blows up, it blows up, who does he care? I'm sick, I'm out of here. Worth $30 billion and you're still putzing around for what? Make another hit to get a bigger stake? What are they, crazy? Get the hell out of here. Life's too short. Anything else, William?
Probably. Let me look.
I wish I had a computer. I can look at quotes, but I can't see anything. I have a blackout. I guess the power line's down or something.
No more questions. That
Again, the dividends for finger motion, it will be a separate symbol, different QSIP number, something completely different. They're going to be short FNGRW, separate from FNGR. They're going to be short at 0. And being short at 0 requires two things. A, 23 million shares. Their prime broker is going to say, hey, 23 million shares, we need $2 per share as margin money. We have to protect ourselves in case you run away from this trade. So 23 times 2, $2, so you're going to come up with $46 million. Day one, just in margin money. That means money they have no access to anymore. It goes into a separate account. It's like putting money with a lawyer. What do you call it? An escrow account? Is that what it's called?
no. Oh well, yeah, escrow, but there's retainer. Retainer.
Yeah, but it's basically, you lose control of that money. It's in an account, right? You don't have
Right.
access to it anymore, right? That's what it's like. That's what the margin's going to be like. And now, remember, the FNGRW, it's 0. If it trades at 10 cents, every 10 cents it goes up, they have a loss of 2.3 million. 23 million times 10 cents is 2.3 million. So 10 cents, 20 cents. Imagine if it trades at 50 cents. 5 times 23, 20 times, they're down 10 to $11 million. And that's just as a gift. 50 million in margin and another 10 million in a loss. Day one. And what did they get for that? 0. Finger motion, if they sell stock at 2, they have the $2 goes into the account. This one, they get 0. They don't get a penny. They just get bludgeoned. That's the difference between this and GTI's dividend. GTI's dividend required you to exercise. When the stock was going up, people wanted to exercise, but the brokerage firms told people, if you did exercise, we're not taking your stock back in the account. So if you gave the money, you would never be able to put the stock back in your account. That was Wall Street's way of getting around that dividend.
Pretty clever.
Nice guys, right?
Pretty
And
clever.
people said, oh, it didn't work. Well, the stock went to 9, number one. And number two, we have the proof from the DTC, the NSCC, the SEC, everybody in a court document that Alpine has a concentrated short position. And that's the prime broker for who? The Kramers. That's where they were hiding it. There you go. It's right there. But we can't enforce it. Yep, everybody knows that, right? But now we have a new sheriff, a new president, a new AG, and a new head of the FBI. And they all own DJT. So if they push DJT, they have to push all of our stocks. And everybody there knows about FNGR. Trust me. Are we still above 2? Or are they trying to move it down into the close? It's only 3:14. I'm sorry.
Feels like 4 o'clock.
That's what I thought it was. It feels like it's 4 o'clock and it's Friday. It's only Thursday.
If they thought they could whine.
They They definitely whine because we hear it. Again, if the stock wants to go up, let it go up. What's the big deal? I told you I shorted stocks with very powerful people. And all they wanted me to do is when they gave me 1 million shares to sell, is sell it as it's going up, not sell it to push it down. That's not what they wanted. If the stock was 80, they wanted me to sell it at an 85 average or 86 average, $86. They didn't want me to sell it down to 75 because if the company's fundamentals are going to fail, they want to make sure the sales at the highest number, right?
Yeah.
With naked short selling, these guys figured out that selling it and push it down. The faster they push it down, to close out their trades, the faster they make money and go on to the next stock. That's all it was. They're just like a bunch of locusts running around. That's all it is. What else, William? Nothing? Everybody's okay? Everybody's cool? Everybody's calm, collected?
What happened to the movie? What happened to the money you took for the movie? Oh, wait a minute.
We
You
went
put
up
in
against
10 grand. You put in 10 grand.
10,000.
Did you steal the 10 grand that you put in?
Yes, I sold. I naked shorted the 10,000 to the movie people.
Oh, God.
I
Let
told
me see if
everybody,
there's any more questions.
Well, just give me some numbers and then I'll hang up because I'm
Finger is
sitting in
at
the dark,
204. Let me
man.
see.
Oh, nice.
Let me
Any
see.
volume?
Let me see.
230,000.
It's really weird. My eyesight is so. It's hard to punch things. The volume's 236 still.
How's that on the nose? I get in the dark. I get it.
201 to 204.
Right.
200 by 208, and then your DJT is down, and your G bucks is giving you bucks. No, it's 96 bid, 109 ask, but last trade about $1.
All right, we're gonna do. I'm a loser again. We're gonna do.
I'm a loser.
All right, everybody. My MLSS. You forgot that. Act like dogs.
Oh, I didn't do that one. Let me look. Yes, it does. You had a chance to make that a profitable trade.
2 cents. 2 cents. I almost made 2 cents.
Yeah, and now it's a loser.
But I just felt that for some reason, I feel like the epidural is an important part of society. I just felt like that. I don't know why. Doesn't mean I'm going to make money from it. I also believe TELO is doing great things, trying to save people and their pets, extend their life, but you can't make any money there either because the shorts are there. So again, you can have great ideas, but they always don't work. So I'll sit with it. People that told me about it pitched me on it. It sounds like something you got to be in. So I'm there. That's it. Not happy, but I'm there. And I guess I'll leave it at that. And we'll see you tomorrow. And I'll be pounding it on Twitter. As soon as my power comes back on, I'll go ripping up Twitter for you.
All right.
All right, everyone. Have a great night.
Talk to you later, bye.
Call ended.
The funds probably got out of finger and no more naked shorts there. Probably is your key word there. Nobody knows. Nobody knows. Oh my gosh. Hawkeye was wondering if he's still banned. And since he's not, he's brought such value to the conversation. Look, here's my prices on it. This line I drew, I tried to lift it up so it's on a slant. But up here, it's where I wanted it. I wanted it to come down to the top of these and under the bottom of that. But up here, it's where I want it. So I think this stock looks really strong. This is Nixie. It is behaving like a champ. The volume is low and it's going up. Now you can read that low volume. You can say, well, it'll pull back. On the other hand, this is a sign of strength in the stock. There's no question about it. You know, however, we are coming into the end of the year. Depending on where you draw this line, and the first one I drew, and my eyesight's going to fail me right now, but the first one I drew at the bottom of this red thing, there was a trading point here, and the top of this trade, I guess that was yesterday's close. Anyway, that was the first one. The second line I drew at the bottom when this corrected where it stopped, and it bounced off of that. And then I think there was a nick there, although my eyesight is failing me. There was some sort of price here. That was the top there. And then that's what happens to be where the stock is right now. And if I had drawn better, it's the last time the stock spiked is right there. So what am I trying to show you there? This was support, roughly where I drew the lines. I mean, if you want perfection, you have to get a real technician. But this was support, bounce, come down, bounce, a little bit through, but basically bounce back up and then come back down, and it went all the way through and stayed below. There's a little bit of a reversal here. Once it came down under here, this became resistance. So rally up, resist, sell off, rally up, puncture, try to get to the moving average, and that's pretty good. But next day opens down and trades down, and it sells off. So this still is resistance. And then one day you can't figure out why. It punctured it again, but immediately it not only opened down, it traded way down and went way down, under $1. So these were failed breakouts of resistance. I'm guessing in here was all the different things with recruiter.com and putting the website out, doing the deal with one of the daughter of Logic companies, and all of that. So they just destroyed it. It's possible it got hurt in the Aubrey Advisors disaster, intentional disaster of selling off the sister companies, but who knows? They just got destroyed. So this remains resistance. So then the stock goes for a year and a half, trading up and down like a hearty tack, trying to get out, trying to get to, and this is a very broad trading range. It's very tight, and I didn't draw it very well, but this part of the first half of it is very tight, and then it sells sideways, and the second half of this move is also very tight. But to combine both of those, as I tried to do, it gets a little wider, and I don't know if that's what Avid would do, or ARCA. But the broad point is this became support in Nixie, whether you start from back here or you start in the beginning of this year right here. Either way, this became support, and it's rising support, rising. So this became support to the downside. And where in December of 2023, you could argue support for the stock was $1.25 to $1.50, right in this range. Because this is a rising support line and sloppy in a way, and I try to make it straighter than it is, but it's a rising support. Today, one could argue that support 1 year later is right around 270, down to 250, 260, in the 250, 260 range. However, this thing is showing strength. It's broken out on this trend line I drew. This one that I screwed up, it's actually broken out above that one. So in this trading zone, high, low, high, you could have traded this over time if you knew. It's broken out to the upside. So this little bit of resistance, I don't know, it's punctured it. So the question is, will this come back into this support zone or not? Or maybe even touch the support, the bottom support line down at 250, 240 or not? The way the stock is behaving is very strong, very strong. But against all evidence here in this chart, I think I would predict, and it's just a guess, is that the stock has now touched resistance, or it's broken through a little bit. Will it go higher? Maybe. But look, every time it went through this blue line, it pulled back. Up, it pulled back. Here it didn't break through. Then it broke through and it pulled back. So what are the odds here? I'm going to say these trades, these pressure points, were all of a series. This is different. So I'm going to count, but you could count those in if you wanted to. But for me, I'm going to count this as one attempt to break through. This is a second attempt to break through. And this third attempt to break through could be the charm, and we're off to the races. That could happen. But it also could be that this third attempt requires a pullback into support, whether it's, I don't know, what is that? 325, whether it's that, which is the top of this line I drew, but draw your own line. I mean, or would it come down to 260? I don't know. To me, that's what's possible. Am I right? I don't know. But you've got 1, 2, and this is 3. We'll know more tomorrow. But I would guess that because all of these were up and came back down, why would something do that? Short sellers. That's my opinion. Short sellers. So I think it's possible. Let me put it differently. It's probably a flip of a coin that it could pull back into support. And then the fourth time, if I'm right, the fourth time would happen, I don't know, a few days later, a week later. The fourth time, if it broke through, I really think that might be all it takes. And that fourth time, particularly if the volume is high, but it could look at this higher highs and higher lows. It took a long time. I mean, this could go into Martin Luther King's birthday, or at least Elvis Presley's birthday. But that's not long to wait, by the way. That's just a heartbeat away. I think this time when it bounces off support, I think the fourth time through this number, this resistance will become support and the stock will break through to 10, pull back a little bit, punch 10, go to 20. Probably 20 will pose a 1 or 2 day pullback type thing. But if it breaks 20, maybe there's a little resistance here at 28, but maybe not. Why do I say that? A lot of this selling here has wiped out these people. All a chart tries to tell you is the relief sale. People bought in here and bought in here. And when the stock price gets back there, they're going to sell out. That's the theory, or one theory. I think I don't see this as a lot of resistance. It could be, but I don't see it. This is such a wipeout. So anyway, maybe 20 is a 1 or 2 day pause. Maybe 28 gives you a similar, but I doubt it. So then I think you're at 40. And 40 is pretty well affirmed going all the way back to 2020. And I think 40 could be resistance, but I don't think it'll stop there. And then 60 has a similar heavy history, but I don't think it'll stop at 60 either. If it starts to run, that's my big thing. If it starts to run, and then you've got a top here, and this is the bottom. This is a trading range, heart attack, electrocardiogram, whatever you guys call it when you're at a supermarket. And so this range is between 110 and 140. There also happens to be a gap right at about 140 or 50. So you ask, what's the potential? I think it's going to tomorrow try to go up, but I think there's a 50-50 chance it pulls back into support. The pause for the cause. I think that pause could be into Elvis Presley's birthday or Richard Nixon's anyway. Or maybe Martin Luther King's. So first, second, third week of January, maybe it breaks through. In other words, 2 weeks, 3 weeks from now, something like that, after it goes sideways a bit. And once it breaks through, I think you're done with all of this crap down here. I just think this becomes support. And I think you could take scissors across the chart and just pretend none of this exists down here, because I think from then on, you've got a stock that's going to stay above $5. And then, like I say, 10, 20, 40, maybe 60. And if it really gets ahead of steam, and we'll find out, maybe 110, 130. And if it breaks through that, who knows? You could have a front page story on this stock. But anyway, those are my targets. I can't find where you are. Oh, I am where you are. I am there. Sorry. I'm out of it. Thank you for your opinion, Hawkeye. Where do you think it'll go? No difference at all. If you don't call options, do you get the warrants and finger? If you don't call options, do you get the warrants and the finger? In other words, if you don't exercise your call options, no, you have to exercise your calls. You have to own the stock. I remember during your interview with Martin said they're expecting some kind of revenue deal. No, I mean, he didn't tell me what it was, if that's what you're asking. If he had told me, I've signed an NDA a long time ago to my memory. If he had told me, I couldn't tell you. I couldn't tell you. The criminals can come on here like Hawkeye and that other guy, say whatever they want. The SEC doesn't care. But the SEC does care if a CEO says something. So no, I can't elaborate. If I had to guess, I could do that. Based on what we talked about in the interview, which you saw, the highest probability is he's going to talk about an expansion of that emergency vehicle contract he has. It's exclusive, and it goes county by county, township by township, state by state, whatever those entities are called in China. Quite. No, if you own the options, you will not get it. But you'll have time. If you own the options and they're in the money and you don't want to put more money up, you'll have 10 days. They have to give 10 days announcement before the record date. So you'll have time to exercise if you want to. But you have to own the stock. Why do you refuse to pay rent, and why does your landlord have to go to court to get you to leave his property? Well, Sandy, you see, I don't know who you are, and I'm not going to answer a lot of those questions, but when I moved here, the gentleman who, I don't know if he's called the landlord or the agent, seemed like a reasonably nice guy. But as I moved here, I was moving from my house that I've been in 23 years, moving here, doing it by myself. And so I moved stuff here, and then I would be there. So I'd sleep there, but then get up, moving here, moving there. And he called the police on me. He sent me a text message. I think I was in my U-Haul driving. But I don't remember. My phone buzzed. I looked, and he said, "This is notice that I'm going to be at your door with the police, the sheriff." I thought, what? So I don't know if I don't remember what I did, but that really made me. I was like, what the hell? So I called him. I believe I called him, or I texted him. I communicated with him. What the hell is this about? I'm just moving in, and you're calling the sheriff to what the hell? And he said, "Oh, I'm afraid you died and you had a heart attack." What are you making this up? And when I got here, and I don't know why I wasn't here, they had gone through everything in my stuff in the drawers here. So that was my first experience, and that made me upset with him. The second time, which was only about 3 weeks later, 4 weeks later, he called and early in the morning and he said, the sheriff is coming to your property today. And I said, this isn't enough notice. This isn't enough notice. What are you talking about? And he was, well, we're coming. So he came, he brought the police again. And I left. I didn't want to be there. They went through everything. I guess they're looking for drugs or whatever. And then he's come in the property without notice at least 3 other times. I can tell by various indications. Earlier this year, I was unable to pay my rent because of cash flows coming to me were either just didn't come at all or they were delayed. And not for the first time. There's a big drama, and he uses the attorney who I think allowed the developer to take my home from me. And this attorney I find quite unpleasant, dastardly, and will do anything and say anything to win. But in court, of course, he's an A student. I can't stand talking to that attorney. That's a whole different subject. But the developer that won the bid, I had a agreement with a friend of mine signed to buy my house, and then we developed it together, and we'd split the profits. I told her she could have the first 500,000. I believed that we would make $1.5 million, $2 million in profit. Turns out they sold the house for more than $4.5 million. I was $4 million. I was right. But she wasn't so sure. I said, you can have the first $500,000. You can name your purchase price. And I'm easy. I only want 2 things. One is that I can move out at my pace. I mean, but whenever you want me out, I'll be out as soon as you want me out. And secondly, the only other thing I asked for was first right of refusal to buy back my house. That's it. That's it. The only 2 things. But she did not. I'm not blaming her. Everything's my fault. But I had to go to Europe to meet a wealthy investor, and I was introducing him to one of my wealthy investors who also was my friend and brother. And unfortunately, that meeting was scheduled for a Wednesday in Madrid. And so I left Tuesday night. And I flew all night. I stopped in London because at the time, I was a gold member of whatever airline, and I could shower and get ready. And then I made the connecting flight to Madrid and made the meetings. Before I left, I called her and I said, you've got to wire that money to the hedge fund. So, I'm going to wire it. I'll wire it. Everything will be done. I'll be done. I'll wire the money. So when I landed in Madrid, I called back and I said, did you send the money? Oh, no, I'm doing it this morning. I was said, well, the auction's today. You better get it done. You have time to get it done, but the auction's at 11:45 or something. 11:55. You have time to get it done. Oh, no, I'm in California. Oh, you're in California. When can you wire the money? Well, I'll go to the bank right away. It's not going to get there in time. So she went, her bank opened at 9 a.m. She wired the money. It arrived at, I don't know, 3:30, 4 o'clock. She wired 440 grand, a lot of money. She was serious. But she's a beautiful woman, and she just always counts on accommodations, you know, the pretty card. But over the telephone, no one knows whether you're pretty or not. So the house did get auctioned. And a friend of mine here went over, but he decided not, he's wealthy, he decided not to do anything. And I listened from Madrid while I got the play-by-play as my house was auctioned off. I could do nothing. There was nothing I could do. The developer who bought my house put $2,000 down, $2,000 down, and he bid $1.435 million for my house. I flew back after my meetings Wednesday. I flew back Thursday morning from Thursday morning from Madrid, landed London for the connection, and then immediately got on the flight home. And I got home late Thursday night. Friday morning, the developer showed up with 2 bodybuilders. He called 2 policemen who had no idea why they were there. He had electricians, he had a locksmith, and he had a pretty real estate agent, and he had a young gun real estate agent. He had about 9 people show up to break in to my house, change the lock, and take possession, because then in DC, I would have had to fight to get into my own property, which I guess technically the developer had won at auction, but he did not pay, and in fact, he defaulted on his contract with the court. He defaulted on it, and months went by. Well, I went into court because I was fighting it, and I forget what my defense was at that time. I guess at that time I can't remember my defense. I had an attorney, and I just don't remember. But I was going in, there's landlord tenant, there's the bankruptcy court, and there's superior court, and there was COVID. So everything was shut down. But I was going into the landlord court. And so the attorney found an argument from a commercial Montgomery ward out of the 70s that said, if you bought a property at auction, but you didn't settle, you didn't pay for it, and you didn't have title, you did have a right to come in and claim the property. It was commercial, and it was, I think, out of Richmond, Virginia, or Maryland or something. But it was decades old, and it was commercial property, and it was 10 days or 7 days. This was months that he hadn't, he only put down $2,000. He never completed his contract. So then he defaulted, and the hedge fund filed with the court that we want to put it back at auction. I mean, this is the guy didn't complete. So the court agreed, voided that, and set a new auction date. It was 9 months later, approximately, by memory. And in the meantime, the identical house to mine sold for $1.65 million or $1.68 million. Identical, the same house, same shitty condition. And so basically $250,000 more to my memory. It sold in March or April, and the auction, April, I think it was, and the auction was set for May. So my attorney called me up and said, you could declare bankruptcy, and if I'm not going to use her name, if she still wants to do it, we could get it under control. She can put up her money, and we can negotiate through the bankruptcy court, and then with the superior court, we can negotiate to pay off the first lien, and we can negotiate with the rest, and you control the property. So I called her up, and we went back to work on that. She, as is her wont, likes to make a lot of phone calls, which is fine, to all the different parties, and we did that, and to her credit, she did it, but she didn't control the property. She never gets control for some reason. But anyway, we did all that, and I said, the more you make noise, the more they're going to come that original guy's going to come try to get the property. Why don't we just send the money and get this done? And she said, no, I want to know, whatever. That's fine. It's a lot of money. So we needed to send money to, and this is my bankruptcy attorney, the attorney that was saying go into bankruptcy to protect your property. I think he was a little bit short-sighted, but he said, I need 15 grand to move forward with this, because the problem was I was rich in assets, but I had no cash. And I had put a lot of my money in to protect my client who had invested in this other property. I had taken my cash reserves when that company CEO needed money. Anyway, it gets too complicated. But the monies my client put up didn't go toward the project. It went to pay that. Be it as it may, I tried to rescue an investment looking out for my investor. So I was without cash, and my dad was in hospice. I didn't need that much, but my dad was in hospice, and he could not. There's no way I could go to him. By this time, my client's frustrated with me. I was doing real estate projects here, but my friend from Merrill Lynch and a young guy that I got out of his bankruptcy and out of his flat on his back life, those two guys met each other, and they were cutting me out. And then I had a second developer. They met my same friend from Merrill Lynch. I originally thought it was the young guy, but it was my friend. And anyway, so I did a lot of work on those. We did dozens of projects, but I wasn't getting any money out of them. So anyway, I didn't have any cash. And the lawyer asked for 15 grand, and he would file, and we could take all control. I met with my friend, and she said, or I called her, and she said, women do not believe you when you have no money. A woman cannot understand why a man is asking her for her cash, because there's something wrong. And I guess she's right about that, because there's plenty of men that she had in her life with a lot of money. But so she said, I need a week. Let me think about it. And I said, well, you're going to lose it. You're going to lose it. Remember, this was a huge opportunity. I was telling her she could have all the profit she wanted up front. I actually said that. You can have all the profit. But she's good enough that she wasn't going to let me do that. I told you the two things I want: the right to buy it back, and enough time to get out respectfully. But anyway, she said, give me a week. So I said, you're going to lose it. And it's a great property. It's the right place. You have a chance. And she wanted to make money. I said, you have a chance. Just flipping the house, you have a chance to make a lot of money. You have to get it under control, though. Anyway, she said she wanted to take time. So I called a friend of mine that I worked at Morgan Stanley, my old office. And I just asked him, I talked to the attorney. He'll take $7,500. I met him down at Clyde's in Georgetown. And I said, I just need $7,500 for a week, because this woman will give the money. And he's a good guy. Everybody loves him. He's a great guy. But he looked at me, he was drinking, and he said, you're living for free. Get a job. I'm not going to help you. And I said, really? I said, I went through it. I went through the whole thing. I just need this, the asset. Anyway, he didn't help me. So, sure enough, that was I think I met with him on a Wednesday of a week. He said he wasn't going to help. So the following week, she sent the money on a Tuesday. She sent it to the attorney, and the 15 grand, good for her. And he got the money. He said, great. The attorney did. He notified the hedge fund. The hedge fund said, oh, we already settled. We already bought the house. And so the attorney called me. I guess that he declared bankruptcy, and then it was on the Wednesday that the hedge fund said that. So my attorney called me and said, the house is gone. It's already done. I said, I don't understand that. According to the records, no money's changed hands. He said, well, I said, when are they going to pay for it? He said, Thursday, tomorrow. I said, well, then they didn't settle. They didn't buy the house. And he said, well, no. And I said, what proof do you have of it? The proof they sent was a pencil signature by a notary public that the developer, who does 400 projects in his lifetime, mostly in Virginia, had gotten a notary to sign, saying, backdating it to the previous week, Friday of the previous week. And so he was able to get my house at 1.435 million, even though the identical house had just sold for 1.68 million, something like that. And so I started fighting that. And this is how it's a long story, but I had to fight in landlord court. I couldn't get through to any of the court systems with COVID. I would show up where I have done in the past, and there's nobody there. You can't go in, you can't timestamp. There's just a guard, doesn't know what they're doing. It was frustrating. But the one court I could go into for some reason, masked or not, was the landlord tenant. I did it. There was a magistrate judge, and I filled out the things. I did everything. I brought, in the one case, paperwork to court, and she waved me off. Anyway, though I don't want to go step blow by blow. I've already taken too long. But this attorney was the other attorney. Schmarmy, do anything to the judge. He's all nice. But because of his actions, he made sure in my case, the developer, who, to my understanding, flipped the house for $2 million or more by putting $2,000 down and lying and in my judgment, fraudulently supplying documents. But I had nobody I could turn to. I had no attorneys. I just tried to do it myself. I was on Zoom calls and conference calls with the lawyers and the judge. The one judge was laughing with the lawyers at me. And then he retired. The new judge came on, and she was good. She said, I want to hear from Mr. Farron. So I expressed what happened. She looked at it, considered, said, yeah, but the magistrate judge at landlord tenant ruled such and such, therefore I can't change it. So this is a long way of saying, Sandy, that this attorney I cannot deal with. And I went to court on my rent. That's now in this place. And he was there. And I was very polite. And I said, I'm willing to pay. I forget my exact words. I'm willing to. But anyway, I don't want to tell you actually out over the air. But my basic thing, I'll pay everything up. So we went to mediation, Sandy, and it was done over the computer, not in person. It was just a month ago. And I made my suggestion. It wasn't very demanding. And they came back with theirs. And I said, okay, how do I sign it? Just send me the agreement. I'll agree to it. Just send it to me by email. And this attorney, this one I just can't work with, apparently told the arbitrator, no, I won't send it. I said, well, why not? Well, just send the agreement. I'll sign it. But I want to review it first. I want to read it, see it, and maybe find somebody to read it for me. He said, no, I'm not going to send it. He didn't say it directly to me. It was through the mediator. So I said, I don't understand that. Well, and the mediator said, well, he says it's just a standard contract. And I said, all right. Why can't he send it to me? And the mediator said, well, he'll send it to you now if you'll sign it. I said, I'll sign it. I'll sign it. And then he came back, the mediator came back to me and said, this attorney has told me he won't send it. He wants you to go hire an attorney to read the document, and then he will bring the document to your attorney, or you can come over to his office with your attorney to sign it. I said, this is a nightmare. This sounds really, I don't quite understand. So Thanksgiving week, I went into the landlord-tenant, I don't know what you call it. They have a service where there's attorneys there that can help you. It was closed because of Thanksgiving. So I went last week. Very nice guy helped me. And he suggested to me how I should handle it, which I'm not going to say over the air. But suffice it to say you're not correct. I don't think, but I guess the way you wrote that could be one way of looking at it. I think there is a part of me that finds dealing with the landlord intolerable. There were items here, and if you read the court documents, you know why, and I'm not going to say it over here, which they fixed in the meantime. They largely fixed in the meantime. But I had legitimate concerns. And once I didn't bring it to court. He brought it to court immediately, by the way. I just went through the process the court system had. I went through the date, the time frame the court system had, and I made an agreement with the court that everything will be resolved and will be taken care of essentially in full. I mean, there was a tiny bit of penalties that will be waived, but everything will be in full. But my insistence is that it's done through the court and that it's clean, and I can walk away without this hyper manipulative, hyper wacko landlord. He's a control freak. And with this lawyer who I simply do not trust at all, I want it to go through the court system. So the long answer, Sandy Reeves, is he ramped it up to court. And okay, fine, we'll go to court. And I've done it. I've done it every step of the way. And when I leave here, if I leave here, or if I stay, everything will be current, but it's going to be done through the court. I do not trust the landlord to tell the truth. I think he's been dishonest with me. This is a guy, the landlord, this is a guy who called me and said he wanted to come into my apartment to check if there was a water leak, because this apartment sat empty for 6 or 7 months. And all of a sudden the water bill, which is what he pays, jumped. All of a sudden there's more water being used than has been used over the last 6 or 7 months. And I said to him, I don't understand. I'm here now. I'm using water. So of course it's gone up. But he wanted that premise to come in and check me out again. This is not a good guy for me, at least for me. So I don't trust him. I do not trust any interaction with the landlord at all. And then this attorney that he chose, I don't know. It's the fates. It's God. I don't know. I just have to deal with it. I don't trust that guy at all either. But I've done everything as required by the court, and I intend to. And I made basically, Sandy, I made I don't know what to call it. It's a payment arrangement, I guess is what to call it, with the landlord. And I'm not allowed to say it because it was in mediation, but it's got specific payment amounts, and those dates haven't come up yet, but they will, and I will do it. So I guess that's my long-winded explanation. I have a dispute with the landlord, and I have my side of it, but I just tried to give you the fullest explanation I could. I would say there's part of me that is reacting to the attorney from all the horror that I went through with my house. I would assume that. So there may be some failures on my part, perhaps. But Sandy, that's why. And if you have any questions, Sandy, keep asking them. I'll do my best. I think I covered as much of that as I possibly can. Hey, Gary. Hey, Abu Razik. So when you say salam alaikum, alaikum salam. Salam is peace, and alaikum must be you, alaikum. Peace be upon you. Salam alaikum. Peace be upon you. Alaikum salam. And with you, I guess. I would never exercise the dividend. I would sell the what you're going to have, Augustine, is a warrant, and it'll probably have a symbol like FNGRW, or maybe it'll have FNGRD, I don't know, some symbol that'll trade. So just like options, if you have a 3-month option at $3 on finger motion and the stock goes to $10, you could exercise that option at $3, put up $3,000 if it's 1,000 shares, put up $3,000 and then sell the stock at 10 and make a profit of $7,000. But the other way to do it is just sell the call at 7 and make $7,000. You don't have to exercise the calls. So that's the same thing with this warrant as a dividend. The warrant might be, I don't know what the terms are. What I remember is it was a 2-year warrant priced at $7. That's what I remember. So let's say the stock goes to 10. Ostensibly, it's worth $3. It might have a little bit of a premium. My guess, if it went to $10 in 6 months and you still had a year and a half on it, there'll be a $2, $3 premium on the warrant. Maybe let's call it $1.50 premium on the warrant. If you exercise the warrant, you won't get that premium. It would just be better just to sell the warrant. The warrant will be trading in the public market. So I can't think of a single reason why you would exercise. Not one at all. Not one at all. If it were me and you wanted stock, I would just buy stock. I suppose later on, let's say a year from now, if finger motion were, I mean, I don't know why you're in it, Augustine. If you're in it for the long value creation, maybe, let's say it goes to $30 and you don't want to pay $30 for your stock, you'd rather pay the $7. That might be a reason, because, by the way, as the stock price goes up, that premium will get smaller and smaller and almost irrelevant. So maybe in that case, if you're holding the stock long term, you would do that. But if you're trying to get a squeeze out of this, which I'm not saying it's going to happen or not, you get all the benefit of the squeeze by holding the warrant. There's just really I can't think of a single reason to exercise. After listening countless times to take dollars off the table, play for free, I condition myself to sell some nicks, playing for free. Thanks to you. I know look, I've always been told, Preston, when I was a big shot. My boss used to say, he'd say, when the stock doubles, sell a third of your position. What if it doubles again, sell another third and let the last third ride. That was basically what I was told. Did I ever do it? Really? No, never really did. I was young. But I did understand that basic concept of taking your profit off to let the rest run. So I didn't use that formula. I had other formulas. But the one thing listening to Ham that really hammered it home is if you do it every time, you almost end up with a portfolio for free. And I don't know why that registered when I heard it from him. But in all the years I managed accounts or traded my own accounts, I would more wing it. But I either took the original money off or just sold it. There's lots of lessons to learn. I'm glad you doubled your investment, Leanna. I'm so glad. If you sell some, it might pull back, you can buy it back. But if you don't sell some, I think you'll be just fine. Let's say in the first quarter. I think there's a lot more to go in that stock. There's a lot more to go. But Ham, going back to Preston, that Ham's a trader, and when we were there's a Chinese wall between the trading side of the firm and the retail side. And I actually did what it could actually be called some institutional business. And before I moved to what is now Morgan Stanley, I worked at a terrific regional firm. Just to impress Leanna, I was President's Club and, a big shot. But I got to know some of the trading aspect of it. But it's two different mindsets, Preston. And so a guy trading has a nut, or that's the wrong word, has a stake, and he doesn't want to lose that stake, or she. They're mostly men though. But so they use the opportunity cost of staying in one stock is too great. If they use that money to get new positions and then another new position, and that when I came out on my own, I noticed a lot of investment bankers and venture capital firms do the same thing. Legally, they would raise money for a company, get equity and warrants. They'd sell the stock and keep the warrants and go do it again. And I never, whatever reason, I never really did it that way. But it's a great strategy. That whole side of Wall Street doesn't exist anymore. It just doesn't exist. When do you think silver will squeeze and how high? I think silver is going to go to 90 in the next, I would, if I had to guess, it'll happen within 3 months. It could happen in 30 days. It could take 6 months, but I think there's a melt up going on, and I think silver is going to go to 90. Now, Sid, if it goes to 75, I'd consider that my call was reasonably accurate. The reason I say 90 is I think when it breaks 50, the all-time high, 50, 52, leaving inflation out, I think it's going to try to get to 100. It won't be a straight move, but I think it'll just blast, and it'll be on the front pages of everything. But then I think you're going to start hearing people talking about how great the equity markets are and how great Trump is, and it's it's a new day is dawning for the financial markets. But I think once the markets go, and I've told you many times, I have high numbers on those markets. Anyway, I can't find my notebook. Oh, here it is. Here it is. I may have used different numbers, but I found this that I wrote down on October 22nd. I'm calling for the S&P to go to 8,000, NASDAQ to 25,000, the Dow to go to 60,000, and the Russell to go to 4,000. A melt up. In that situation, I think gold could go to, I'd say 4,000. And silver could go to 100, but I'm saying 90. After that, I think the markets are going to meet reality. They're going to be like the road runner running off a cliff and hanging in midair. I think they're going to meet reality, and the world is not doing very well. And I think there's going to be a hard crash in the stock markets. I think this melt up is the end of a 45, 44, 43, 42-year bull market. It's the end. And I think on the other side of that bull market in the market, I think you'll lose everything. You'll lose everything. Except that's going to be in all the big names. I think smaller stocks, special situations, stocks that are flat on their butt right now will do well. I do think we're going to have a shift to commodities of all natures. But anyway, going to your question on silver, in that sell-off, there will be such a panic that Pilot to the Moon will see the Dow down 20,000 points in a day. People will be panicking. There will be margin calls. There will be sell-offs. It will be, the banks will shut down. People will be walking around numb, like I did when I lost my house, like I did for a couple of years, just in a state of absolute, what the F happened? And gold and silver will be sold. Gold and silver will be sold off in that panic. But I don't think gold will come down much further than today's price, maybe 2,500 in a sell-off. And I think silver, it depends. If it goes to 90, I think silver will come back to maybe 45, 50. If silver only goes to, say, 70 or 75, I think silver could pull back in that sell-off to the high 30s, the low 40s. And from there, Sid, I think silver will go to a 1-for-1 valuation with gold. Now, the first part of the move in silver and in gold will be creating wealth. But the second part will just be preserving wealth. So the creating wealth stage, let me give you a target there. I think gold will be repriced somewhere between $27,000 and $40,000 an ounce maybe there'll be a meeting in Cairo of all foreign ministers, and gold will be repriced. So let's take, instead of 27,000 or 40,000, let's just take 25,000. 25,000. Gold right now trades at 1 ounce of gold is equal to approximately 80 ounces of silver. Let's just use that ratio. If gold goes to $25,000 an ounce, I think silver will go to $300. $300. I actually think, as I've already said, the gold-silver ratio will return to its historic level, and that is, well, what is that? I think it's the British pound sterling was set by the Exchequer at 15.5 to 1. And that ruled the waves for a couple of hundred years. In the ground, it was pretty much determined it was 16 to 1. And I think the French did for a while 16 to 1, or the Spanish, somebody did it 16 to 1. And then another number they use is 12 to 1. But as I've already explained, Sid, I think it'll go 1 for 1. Silver is in short, almost terminal supply. And silver, physical silver, cannot meet physical demand. The reason silver prices are low is they're suppressed by the big banks, by short selling, paper contracts. And so I guess to take my argument to full logic, I think silver could go to as high as $40,000 an ounce if gold goes to $40,000 an ounce. But that last bit, the wealth will be created when the gold-silver ratio reverts to mean. And I think that's somewhere around, let's call it 15 to 1. That will be wealth creation in real money, in silver, in gold, at vis-a-vis other assets. But as it goes from 15 to 1 to 1 for 1, that's just keeping up with hyperinflation. That will be keeping up with the complete destruction of the international US dollar. But that's just a projection. There's lots of things that could change between now and then. Don't give stock tips? Okay. None of the things I'm talking about are stock tips. D Fresh wants me not to give them. It's intellectual ideas. They're just for examples. And I'm not going to give any stock tips because somebody named D Fresh has asked me not to. I'm up 3,000 on Nix. You're welcome. I hope you make more on it. Finger closes at 204. Boat Bum. Good things are coming our way. Thank you, Boat Bum. So I am right. It's Salam is the peace. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. When we go to mass, which I don't do enough, the priest always says, "Peace be with peace." I think he says, "Peace be with you." Actually, it's funny. God wants us all to live in peace. Finger W is the symbol. Leona Vargas, congrats. Barbara made money. I'm glad you guys doubled your money. I think it's great. I would love, even if it's a small amount of money compared to MMTLP or GTII or CRTD or that healthcare company. I would just love you guys to make money. And I think there's much more to come in NIXX. I think you're going to be really pleased over the next, let's call it 90 days, but I think it'll be shortened to much less than that. My concern, as I've said, I think everything's shifted out into the new year just because of the holidays. That's what I think. But there's still risk. That's the thing. So that's why it's smart whenever you feel comfortable to take your first money off the table, because there's still risk. They're all speculative stocks. And as D Fresh wants you to know, I shouldn't give stock tips. Come on, William. You met with Martin Shen. Why don't you give us the inside scoop? Well, I'll tell you one thing. He spells his last name with an S. I want some assurance that Finger will do well. Okay, Sid. I'm gonna give you information that the SEC can file a complaint with the Justice Department, and they can come arrest me and put me in jail for 5 years, just so that you can get some assurance. By the way, Sid, Martin doesn't break the law. Martin doesn't break the law. Martin did not give me any information that's not public, or that he gave on the interview, but I assume everything he said on the interview is in filings and is public. So I can't give you assurances. My own views, Sid, on Finger, it is different than Ham's. I think the shorts have the potential short squeeze under control. I think only someone who studies it really closely and knows it almost by memory, like Ham, or someone who actually knows the numbers, might think a short squeeze could happen any day, and be right, by the way. They could be right. But for me, Finger went from 20 cents to $17, and they got it under control. Then Finger there were other moves, but let's just go with the big ones. Then Finger went from around 80 cents to $9, $10 or something like that, and they got it under control. Last year, it tried to get through $7, and they got it under control. And my feeling is they have it under control. That's my feeling. And when they need to bribe somebody, they bribe somebody. When they need to cheat more, they cheat. So it is my view, Sid, the only thing that's going to cause Finger motion to squeeze is a surprise, a shock, or steady pressure that hurts their pocketbook. So what could a surprise be? Well, that's what Ham talks about. That's a buy-in, or they break through and there's a change in the regulatory environment. As another surprise could be a massive contract that specifically states to you, Sid, so you don't have to do any thinking at all. Specifically states China has a lot of people, China has big government spending, and the Chinese government is going to spend, I'm going to make it up, $20 billion on some service from Finger motion over the next 3 years. And that's going to break down to X amount per share, and the money is guaranteed. Something like that, then you would be comforted. I made all of that up, by the way. But that would shock the shorts. They couldn't fight that. They couldn't fight that. So if you have a surprise or a shock or a swelling of buying, the shorts are in trouble. The way I think it's going to happen, Sid, and I've said this many times, if you listen to Martin Shen's interview, it's clear to me third quarter numbers come see, come saw. Fourth quarter and full year, I think they're going to turn positive. It's not for sure, but I think they're going to turn positive. So to me, once finger motion has predictable, growing, and repeatable revenues, cash flow, and earnings, and Wall Street can digest that and count on it. In addition, I think what Finger needs is they've got like a peacock's tail of different items. They need one of them to break out so that finger motion can be known as the insurance reseller, or finger motion can be known as the emergency vehicle data provider, or finger motion can be known as the snow, the data in the cloud, like snow in China. If it's an easier story to tell and the revenues knock everybody's socks off and they have positive earnings and all that, well, all of a sudden you've got a $5, $6, $7 stock, which is not going to go back to 1 or 2 or 3. And you've got a large unsettled position out there, which costs money every single day, every month, every week. And then you'll start seeing the shorts buy in. And then you might see an acceleration of a buy-in. And then you might, in fact, see a short squeeze. That's my opinion of what's going to happen. But if it doesn't squeeze, Sid, I believe that finger motion does have the fundamentals, does have the relationships over time to be a strong company. But as you can imagine, one of the risks is China. Are we going to go to war with China? Are we going to have an economic war with China? Is China having a meltdown in its own economy? You can answer those questions. I think the saving grace for China is they do listen. They've got the communism up top, and down below they have capitalism with a lot of government input. What do we have? We've got socialism at the top, where we direct resources to the banks, to the military, to the press, to the drug companies, and to agriculture. So we almost have a fascist setup, but it's certainly socialism. We privatize the risks, privatize the profits, and we spread the risks out to the public. And this is why certain men, mostly men, women are getting rich too if they divorce the men, but mainly it's men creating this unheard of wealth. And that's what's happening here. But one thing China does is they've built out high-speed rail. They've built out their energy. They've built out overbuilt cities, but they've built out how to live in where the world is going. They've also built factories, and they've used our patents that we gave to them. They've built out robots to do the work. So my opinion, China will come out of its economic situation just fine, but there could be disruptions. The biggest thing China has going for it, which Hillary Clinton, in her wisdom, remember she's a genius, Doc Kissinger kept China and Russia apart, and there's a reason. Hillary drove them together, and I'm using her. It's the whole neocon agenda. They drove them together. But what China has from Russia, the pipelines of oil and natural gas are flowing full speed down to China from Siberia and elsewhere in Russia. And so Russia is going to have their American century. I think China will have its American century. It's going to be the manufacturing engine to the growing middle class in Southeast Asia, Africa, Middle East, Russia. What we did, the miracle that was America, I think China can have. But there's some risks for China. They don't have enough food. They don't have enough water. There is corruption. You know, there's some things. So anyway, I'll leave it all to you to decide. I love it, Barbara. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. 10 finger warrants for 1 share of finger. So if the warrant, so it is $7. And finger is 11. Each warrant is worth 4. Oh. John, you're right. Sorry. John's right. Each warrant is only going to be worth 1/10 of what I said. Sorry, John, you're right. I was wrong. Each warrant is worth 1 share for every 10 shares you have, or another way of saying it, each warrant is worth 1/10 of the spread. So he's right, 40 cents. Sorry about that. Nightmare. That's arithmetic. John, you're 100% right. It's embarrassing. Leanna's the best. What happened to GTII and Finger? Where'd you go? GTII went from 9 cents to $9. Finger went from 17 cents to $17. Silver, that's not as easy a question as you would think. I think the first thing you do is you buy physical silver, and while it's still available, and it is, I'd buy junk silver. They come in bags, and I'd have it delivered to your house. Don't tell anybody. Just throw it back in the laundry or in with the dog food. And don't tell anybody about it. Don't open it up. But if there's an emergency, you could open it up, and that might be your way out of town or buy gasoline. But if silver goes, you want to keep it sealed so you can send it back, get a bid, send it back, and get your cash right away. That would probably be the first thing I'd buy, because it would have the least, right now, the least premium, the smallest premium. I would buy next. Look, the Austrian Philharmonic, the Australian, I guess it's called Koala. What do they call it in Australia? Anyway, they have a coin, and then the Canadian silver coin, Maple. They're all good. They all have their advantages. The Somalian elephant is popular. And there's those of you who poo-poo Australian table wines. But I think the one to buy, hands down, is the U.S. Eagle. And you can buy that you can buy that in 1 ounce at a time or in sleeves, or you can buy what they call monster boxes, which is 500 ounces of silver. You can have it delivered to your home, or you can store it. There's advantages and disadvantages of either. Again, if you buy silver, don't open it, because if silver runs and you call back in, you want to get a price, they'll say that's good for 48 hours. So you have to hurry down, overnight it back to them. It costs money. And then if you want your money right away, if they can just scan it with their little bloop bloop, it's done. But if they have to sit and count it, you might not get your money for weeks. So don't open it. But the problem with silver, Leanna, is it's very heavy, very heavy. And it's hard to store, hard to hide. So another option is to buy it and pay money to store it. But then imagine a really bad scenario. For example, gasoline is $35 a gallon. Society breaks down after 2 or 3 weeks of this because nobody can afford, food's not delivered to grocery stores, and wherever you're living, the young people that used to watch football on a Friday night start roaming, and you don't feel safe. Well, how the heck are you going to get out of Miami with 8 boxes of silver? You won't be able to do it. It'll get stolen from you. You won't be able to get it on the plane or even on a boat. Well, use that same logic. If you store your silver in Toronto or Vancouver, or you store it in Denver, it's just in this storage facility with some guards that may or may not care about what they're doing. And if there's hordes of people roaming, that might get stolen. On the other hand, it might be reasonably safe in all other situations. So that's one place to store it, United States, Canada. I would suggest, and I should do videos or show you where to go. Hong Kong, Singapore are reasonable places to store. But then you start thinking, what if we go to war with China? Switzerland's a pretty good place, but Switzerland has pretty much given up its neutrality. And but I think Switzerland's a good place to store. Anyway, that's another way to do it. Okay, yet another way to invest in silver is to buy the Sprott Physical Silver Trust. The symbol is P, as in physical, and SLV, as in silver. Of course, the negatives, you pay a little fee. The positive is that is physical silver. It is allocated. He lists on his website the serial number of the allocated bars. So that's another way. You just do it in your account. PSLV. PSLV. What's the risk? The risk is if the financial system collapses, your brokerage firm can just take your assets. And then it becomes a legal issue and a battle to get that back. But those are the extremes. In a normal life, when that goes up, you can sell it and take your money out. Finally, for purposes of what I'm talking about, you can buy silver miners. And there are silver companies out there to buy. I think there's many of them, but I think the one I would focus on if you don't have any, I think it's called Wheaton Financial now. Wheaton, Wheatn. It used to be called silver wheaten. Problem is, it's not 100% silver anymore. It's also gold and other things. But I think that one would make sense. How much y'all lose holding GTII? Okay, so this is the Moore, the Moore law. You've heard of the Moore law of investing and recommendations. The Moore law is if one stock ultimately fails, and the Moore law, there's several Moore laws. One of them is, as a predicate, don't listen at all to anything. Don't listen when someone is telling you when the stock is still in the $4 range, $3 range, $2 range, $1 range, 50-cent range, that it's probably time to do something else. But just don't listen to any of that. Just ride it all the way up and ride it all the way down. That's the first Moore law. The second Moore law is if you're in a stock like that and you ride it all the way down, then it means that every other stock, every other thing that's recommended is worthless. So those are the two Moore laws. The first Moore law is once you invest, ignore your investment. If it goes up, don't take profits. If it breaks below your purchase price, don't protect your investment and let it all go all the way down and blame the first guy you heard it from, who might be dead, by the way. That's the first Moore law. The second Moore law is, there's a corollary to his first law, which is don't pay attention to your investment. So don't make any protective moves or adjustments. It's a one-time recommendation, and for 2 years, don't listen to anything else. It was a one-off. And if you're looking for a squeeze, only look for a squeeze. Don't do anything else. That's the corollary to Moore's law number one. The second Moore's law, hey, you lost in GTII, so you're going to lose in everything else. So Josh Moore is here with his wisdom to help you out. I'm sure if you contacted Josh Moore, and I'm not sure how, but anyway, if you contacted Josh Moore, he'd help you out. Am I glad Donald Trump won? Yes, I'm very glad Donald Trump won. I'm petrified for his fealty to a war criminal, Netanyahu, Bibi Netanyahu. Bibi Netanyahu is a war criminal. He's a mass murderer. Bibi Netanyahu is slaughtering and ethnically cleansing an entire race of people. Bibi Netanyahu, for breathing space, Lebensraum, is invading countries. Sounds like a country in Europe in the 40s, in the late 30s. I think Bibi Netanyahu is as evil as the gentleman who was evil in Europe in the 30s and 40s. And I think Trump supports Netanyahu. And I that aspect of it makes my stomach sick. Palestinians are human beings. Palestinians are intelligent. Palestinians work hard. They believe in God. They're atheists. They're Christian. They're Muslim. but Bibi Netanyahu is slaughtering them. And he is ethnically cleansing Gaza Strip for the oil riches. He has taken over Golan Heights. It's ours forever for the oil. Benjamin Netanyahu is an evil, evil man. And the fact that Donald Trump supports him bothers me. But hey, which political person in the United States are you going to elect that doesn't support Israel and Benjamin Netanyahu? Now, to be clear, I'm not here anti-Israel, anti-right of Israel to exist. I am anti-Benjamin Netanyahu. As far as I'm concerned, he's a murderous fat fuck. Anyway, then the other thing I'm worried about with Trump is he's appointed Marco Rubio, who's a war hawk. And we cannot bomb Russia. We cannot do it. We need to be friends with Russia. But I actually think in that case, Trump is going to meet with Putin. He doesn't have Hillary Clinton's Steele dossier hanging over him anymore and all of her lies. So I think he is going to meet with Putin, and I think we'll stay out of the war in the Ukraine. So I'm glad about that aspect. You lost 40K laughing your ass off, just like GTII. Oh, 40K for silver, for gold, just like GTI to 100's now worth nothing. Your price targets are living in a fairy tale. Okay, write it down, Josh Moore. The thing is, I won't even remember your name. When gold goes to $40,000 an ounce, I will not remember your name. You're just one of hundreds of cowardly scumbags. Yeah. And Josh, just so you know, I lost a shitload in GTII. John makes a good point, Leanna. I don't consider it junk either. I think it's very valuable, but it is technically constitutional. Leanna, I'll try to, I think you emailed me. I'll try to send you some links of where I would go and who I would trust. Leanna, let's go back to your question. Where are you, Leanna? I can't find your question. Darn it. Here it is. The sites, I didn't give you the sites to go to buy. One is APMEX, APMEX. They're the biggest. But I really like Mike Maloney. He used to have red hair. Now his hair is gray. Mike Maloney. And his website, I want to make sure I give it the correct name. I think it's gold silver, www.goldsilver.com. But he doesn't brag. This is small print. Yeah, that's it. Goldsilver.com. Here, I'll show it to you. That would be one of my favorite places to go. Goldsilver.com. Here he is. He's one of the most honest guys out there. The other one I already told you in the market is Eric Sprott, and you can trust him in my judgment. There's a guy in Switzerland called Egon von Greiritz, but he demands really high minimums. But on his website, he recommends some people. That's kind of a vague recommendation, so I wouldn't leap at that. There's a couple of other silver vendors out there, but there was one I used years ago who actually went out of business. So I think it's, and I didn't lose anything, but people did. So I think it's important just to stick with a couple. And I guess those would be my favorite, APMEX and Gold Silver. And Sprott Asset Management for the Physical Silver Trust. There's plenty of others out there, but I wouldn't use any others. The thing about Mike Maloney, he teaches you. He's got videos and he cares. And I think his thought process, the cycles, amazing. I really strongly recommend him. All right, Leanna. I guess I'm going to sign out now that I've upset everyone. I forget which gentleman asked me about my landlord. As soon as I settle that, I'll take a Xerox of my check and I'll let you know so that you can keep track of my life. But otherwise, I'm going to get on with my day. It's late, 5 o'clock. I wish everyone well and peace. And I really thank you for tuning in. And even the boo birds, I hope they have peace. Anyway, cheers, everybody. We'll catch you tomorrow is Friday. Yeah, we'll catch you tomorrow. And yeah, blessings to you too, Leanna. Salam alaikum.